Yeah, very frothy, that one. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Hello and welcome to On the Esky, sports podcast by us three Muppets, and we will talk about all the weeks, well, 4 or 5 days for us.
It's short week.
Quick turnaround.
For sports. And the main stories, of course, we'll talk about the third test of the cricket. It finished up. The NFL playoffs. There's a bit of news in the NBA, F1. Actually, there's a lot of little bits of news floating around on some of those sports. Bit of news in the NHL is kicking off, of course. A few stories in the NRL, AFL, and the like. But
NFL playoffs.
yeah, well, I said the playoffs. Yeah, the playoffs being a massive one.
Yeah.
That we will definitely talk about. Maybe we'll save that towards the end because we will talk the most about that. Favourite subject to us.
As we usually do.
But I think, well, first let me introduce the boys over here. So I got Peppy on my left as usual, followed by Monks on the far left. And of course, my name is Sean. How you boys been doing?
Not too bad. Just rocking the ACT Monarchs cap. Pulled it out from...
Represent.
Yeah, deep in the closet, that one. The old ACT Monarchs Grudon team.
I think I've got mine as well, and it's in the cupboard there. Actually, the cupboard's a little bit open, and it's got my Monarchs jersey hanging out the back of it.
Ooh.
Jumper.
A few other weird things hanging out of there.
Let's hope not.
How's your week been, Monkey?
Yeah, not too
Snowed
bad.
in at work? Or?
Yeah, usual. Just usual. Trying to catch up with sport every minute that I can.
It's a chore, isn't it?
It is.
Getting that old tab happening.
Yep.
Should we start by discussing the third test?
Yeah, let's start off with the cricket.
So, drawn test. As of our last broadcast, we were...
Day 3.
Yeah.
Day 3 commenced, or day 4.
Finished day 3 during the start of day 4.
Yep.
The Aussies, as we said, 400 would be insurmountable. It was insurmountable, but geez, it was a bit closer than we would have thought, and they couldn't bowl them out. So the Indians really dug in and come away with a draw. So it's only the third draw on Australian soil in the last 25 tests.
Oh, that's impressive.
25 tests.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just a function of weather. You know, we don't get a whole lot of rain. I suppose over in England you get rained out a little bit more. So the Indians needed like 406 or
7, I think.
407.
Well, 7 maybe to win, 6 to draw.
So the highest run chase ever achieved at the SCG is 287. So they would have had to annihilate that record by over 110 runs.
There's a few teams that had scored, of course, more than that, but didn't win. They just draw tests. There's a few, I think, that got into the 300s, trying to chase down a 400 total, but ended in a draw as well. No one had actually chased down and won more than 287.
I'm with you. So the highest successful run chase, 287 to win at the SCG. Where do we start? As of last broadcast, I think Smith and Labuschagne were at the crease.
Yep.
Labuschagne made his 50 and then got dismissed. Smith went on to make a few runs again.
Yep, I think 70 odd.
Yeah, 70 odd. And then the Indians, they looked pretty good. Pretty good. There was a point where on day 5 about lunchtime when Rishabh Pant was out there just scoring bulk runs, Pujara the wall made another 50 odd. I thought, this could be another Ben Stokes type moment.
Oh, definitely. And with Punt almost getting 100,
97, and a quick
for a bloke that had a dodgy elbow and couldn't field.
Yeah,
he looks pretty all right going there, smacking the ball around.
Should we get into that?
Well, it's probably one of there's two stories of.
I think it's up there with one of the biggest stories. Yeah. So he gets smacked on the elbow,
like point of the elbow, real good on the point,
pretty hard. He doesn't keep in Australia's second innings.
Yeah, takes a day off.
Takes the day off, rests to recuperate. The new rules allow Saha to come in and keep the whole innings.
Yep.
So back in the day, they would have been looking around the field saying, who wants them, who wants the gloves? You'd literally have to pick someone, out of your starting 11 to get behind the stumps. That rule has changed. So Saha comes in, keeps all day, and then Punt goes out and bats like that. Probably upset all our 2 Indian listeners here on the Esky, but It's the second time it's happened this series.
Yes.
Once in the ODIs, when Jadeja sat out the second innings after getting struck. They are new rules, so maybe they're just making the best of the new situation, the new rules. But
you got to think, like, for batting, an arm injury is probably one of the worst things you get. Like, if maybe he got hit in the ribs, or you could see with a leg injury if he was labouring, but you could at least you could say, yeah, he can't feel, but he can bat down the end and probably put on a performance like that. But to your elbow, which is part of your action of your swing all day, to then still almost hit 100 against one of the best Test teams on the.
You feel like if you're well
race.
enough to hit 97, you're well enough to keep.
Yes.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that.
Yeah.
Anyways, didn't really affect the outcome of the game, luckily. He hauls out. They get Pujara. And then Vihari and Ashwin just absolutely dig in and play out the probably last session and a half for what I'll say a scintillating draw.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Just be the amount of barrage they took as well. Like,
they were
short stuff,
absolutely
they get pummeled.
peppered with the short stuff.
Just stood their ground, kept going.
Vihari's hamstring was absolutely cooked. Like, he could barely run between the wickets. Not that they were pushing hard between the wickets. Obviously playing for the draw after the dismissal of punt.
Yeah.
But really nice.
Well, there was definitely a point there, if they didn't get him, that they very much could have ended up winning that game.
They were on track. Yeah,
they were definitely on track.
They were definitely on track.
They had more than enough balls left in the day to be able to do it, but losing him, you then don't want to get into your bottom order in the bowlers.
Don't want that collapse.
And obviously with
with
Jadeja unavailable to bat, he might have batted 11.
Yeah.
So that's their last sort of semi-recognised batsman other than Ashwin. So, at the end of the day, a pretty well thought out draw.
Yeah. Oh, it was an excellent cricket match, really.
Yeah, and a nice display of defensive batting, I think, from Vihari and Ashwin at the end there. Something that you don't really see that often these days in a Test match. Playing for the draw, and how good's Test cricket?
Yeah. So to finish up on the punt, the talk around, I don't know, not cheating in the ideas of, but playing within the rules. You could probably maybe give him a pass. I was just thinking of this. You could give him a pass if, maybe he needed to sit out a day because he's been hit on the elbow, and it's a stinger. Like, it's something that, like, it could take a day to heal. Like, it just needs to be rested and get that feeling, get the nerves firing again, and then the next day it comes out like, I feel great, I'm good to go for batting. So if maybe that day, if they were still fielding, wild example, but if they were, maybe he comes out and goes, I can go back into keeping.
Yeah,
it's hard to say.
I think, look, they followed the rules that have been set.
Yeah.
So, according to the old rules, you'd say, maybe that is a bit borderline, but they followed the rules of the day, and for mine, play on.
Yep.
Which comes to the next point of mine.
Yeah, go.
So Steve Smith obviously goes out there at the start of day 5 and mucks up the
another allegation of cheating.
Yeah, so have you seen the footage on the stump cam?
Yeah.
Obviously, it makes a deliberate attempt to go scratch out the batting marks.
Yeah, well, scratching on the batting marks.
Yeah.
So whether it was intentional that he was trying to remove them, or
I think so. Like, why would you be doing it otherwise?
His what they've been talking about is, he was doing a bit of shadow batting, and then as habit, always setting the centre line.
So the way his feet were pointing, he'd be batting left-handed. He'd be batting left-handed for that shadow batting.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in this. It's obviously just trying to muck up with his head,
Yeah.
It's not like he's gone onto a good length ball and started jamming his spikes into the deck. It's a little bit of tomfoolery, I think. But is there any, malicious cheating? I don't think so.
No. You got to understand, I think by then, the Australians were very frustrated. You could see it with Payne and with his Payne's comments and his sledging, that they were definitely frustrated. So whether he was, just trying to put the batsman off a little bit, I don't think it affected him because he came back out straight away and said,
he marked it.
Remarked
10
all three.
seconds
So,
and you're sweet.
Yeah. It was okay, like you said, maybe it was a little bit of that mental game. It was like, I'm pretending to be you, and I'm just going to muck up this centre line
a little bit tomfoolery. There's nothing more than that.
Yeah.
That brings me to your, you just mentioned Tim Payne. What did you think of the sledging? Did he cross any boundaries? Was it just good sportsmanship? Was it within good sportsmanship, I should say?
Well, if you compare it to sledging in the 80s and 90s, it was probably very tame.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Stump Mike's on, obviously picking up nearly everything they said. A quick Google search will find out some of the really crazy stories of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Often involving people's wives and a few expletives and
I think
things of that nature.
I think one of the better shout outs, and thanks to Steamer, who's been on the Esky a couple times.
Shout out to the Steam.
Tim Payne 0 test hundreds and Ashwin's got 4. So
at that point, I think Payne had 3 drops on the day as well.
Yes,
so maybe it's a little bit of frustration out of the Aussie captain.
It definitely their short barrage wasn't working. They were still sticking in there.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to unsettle them. They were trying anything, and then of course they've gone to the mental game and was like, hey, let's try and mess with the heads. Let's try and push our frustration on them a bit, but it just didn't work. So,
and to be honest, I love it. I love a little bit of a sledge. It's Test match cricket. You should be strong enough mentally to be able to absorb that. Did Payne cross any lines? No, I think he said he called him a dickhead. I think he said at least my teammates.
You've been called worse. So.
Like me, a dickhead. I think Ravi might have had the upper hand actually because he said, "I can't wait to get you." Payne said, "I can't wait to get you to the Gabba."
Yeah.
And Ravi said, "I can't wait to get you to India." And Payne obviously has been on one tour of India.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Ravi took it pretty well. He was just sort of backing away.
It was like competitive banter versus like getting stuck into him personally or going after his like mom or
I think
his girlfriend, wife, like that sort of thing.
It also leads me to another point of note is should they be giving so much access via stump mics and whatever else other mics are on the pitch to what the players are saying?
Warney and Simonson would probably say elsewise.
Well, I think that was a little bit of a tech mishap.
A little bit of a technically difficulty.
But you got
wow. Everyone's struggling to talk to. That's really good.
Need more beers in you. Well, you got to remember, sport's always the entertainment factor. So it's what's entertaining. So they're trying to get as much access to the players and that, and trying to entertain, but that's still curated. So it's still up to the, at the moment it's a 7 production crew to kind of, or Foxtel, depending on who you're watching it with, Fox Sports, to pick what they do and don't show. So
Well, don't they broadcast with a few second delay anyway? Like, aren't they able
I would have thought for
scratch the expletives?
For stump mics, they would probably have at least a little bit of delay for this very reason.
Yeah.
Because I don't think 7 wants to be broadcasting dickhead in the middle of the day. Especially when
there could be worse.
Right now on the Esky, I'll say fuckhead.
But you got to worry about all the Karens that are sitting at home with their 11-year-olds watching cricket. So
I get that.
You got to remember the national appeal of cricket, especially during daytime. That you've got a much younger audience than say, well, even the Big Bash League. Like it still plays of an evening, but it's still cricket.
Plenty of kids.
Yeah, it's cricket is very much aimed, especially the Big Bash League, aimed at children. Well, aimed at the younger age groups than versus the 30-year-olds drinking beer, talking about shit on podcasts.
30-year-olds drinking beer saying, oh, geez, why do these kids just want to watch this bloody 2020 bullshit? They should be watching Test cricket like a real man. We love our Big Bash. That's
So, on sledging, let's move to harassment. So, the other big story was...
From the crowd.
The harassment and name calling from the crowd.
Yep. Did anyone ascertain what was said?
I don't think there's anything really clear. There hasn't been a great amount of footage to say what was said. There's, in some of the footage, you maybe could possibly make out some derogatory comments. Most of it, I think, was the crowd getting stuck into them. There's some talk that the 5 blokes they did eject, they ejected 2 other guys with them. Those 2 were defending them, saying it wasn't these blokes. They didn't say anything, and they didn't say anything bad. But I think overall, being to a lot of sports in Australia, crowds in Australia are very, very well known for saying a lot of garbage and a lot of shit out on the field.
Yeah, but do you think it'd be different overseas?
American sports, probably not. I think the westernized crowds will be very different to say what they.
Let's say
I reckon if you went to American like college football or anything like that,
the problem here is race.
yeah,
That's the problem. In terms of bad shit getting said, when the Aussies go over to England, do you reckon the Barmy Army hold back and they're all polite and they sip a cup of tea and, they cross their
members are wankers.
Cross their T's and they dot their I's? I doubt it. I think the problem is the issue of race, and if something derogatory was said in that field, then probably, the boys need to get booted. Should it be a whole, thing? Is Australia racist because there was 5 guys running their mouths at the cricket? Well, no, you just get on with it. I think
you can't paint everyone with the same broad brush, but
that's right.
I will say that a lot of the crowds, definitely, there's a lot of stuff you'd say that, again, going back to the factor of kids and children, you wouldn't want to take your kids to it because there's a lot of garbage getting said at sports grounds in Australia.
Indeed.
Unfortunately.
And
so it's like you say, it's not a place where you go sit down and sip some tea. It's blokes drinking way too much beer and then trying to get stuck into the referees.
And $9.50 a cup. I don't know. I think they dealt with it okay. They booted the guys, play on. You can't hold everyone, in the crowd to the same standard that a professional should be held to. I think it's hard to ascertain what was said. Even if it was something really bad, they did boot them.
Yeah,
they said,
they
said, see you later, play on, that's it.
I think it's a much bigger problem if, again, go back sledging, if Tim Payne's saying these things. Because then that's...
The players and,
players shouldn't be
people in the media and things should be
exactly.
held to a different standard.
Yeah,
Back
definitely.
on Tim Payne as well, you reminded me, he also got put up for swearing at the umpire as well.
Yes, he did. Because the DRS stuff, he's just like... can we get some fucking consistency?
Yeah.
Because again, he was frustrated. You could see he was frustrated.
You could tell.
So hopefully, that's going to be a problem. If we talk about the 4th test, we don't want him going in frustrated into the Gabba.
No.
And forget about that test. It's drawn, whatever. We got to win this one and win the series. Let's focus on winning this one. See what the pitch does. See how we can do it.
You know what I'm worried about going in the Gabba test? India draws, they retain.
Yep.
So if there's any
Australia has to win.
Any elements of weather as well, Brisbane, middle of January, storms.
Yeah. They're usually pretty right. They'll get rain more of an evening than during the day.
Tropical type stuff.
Yeah. But still, if they get enough rain, then maybe that causes issues for the morning if it doesn't dry.
And probably plays into the Indians' hands.
I was going to say, with that in mind, if you're Australia, would you rather bat first or field first?
Bat. I think you want to win that toss and bat first.
Generally, I think in Australian conditions, you want to bat first. You prefer to get your innings out, and then you want the other team on that day 5. Like you want them on that pitch. Hopefully, that's deteriorated and it's doing stuff. Yeah, because it's much harder to bat on the end of day 4 and 5 than it is on day 1 and 3.
I can't think of too many instances in recent memory where you've won the toss, you bowl, and end up winning in Australia. That brings me to my next point, courtesy of tab.com.au. Sportsbet haven't been replying to our emails if you guys are interested. Last time a touring team won at the Gabba, 31 years ago. 31 years ago. In that time, Australia, 24 wins, 7 draws. Yep. A really bad place for India to go to try and retain this series. How do you think they'll be feeling? And on top of that, they're absolutely injury ravaged.
Yeah. So let's talk about them going into Brisbane first, because of course there's some stuff in the media today about being quarantined like being in prison, rada. I think hotels are a bit different in prison, but yes, you can't go out.
Do you get paid in prison?
It's definitely not a Colombian prison.
So it's
Alexander McConaughey, maybe. They got Fox still there?
Yeah.
Fox still.
I think
only one way to find out.
Yeah, I'll go 3 meals a day.
I'd be happy if that's kind of their mindset they're going into, that they're, well, maybe it goes both ways. So they might think they're hard done by and that'll steal them together and they'll play better. Or maybe it'll slip into the back of their minds. It's like, this is garbage. Why do we have to do this? And they come out a bit flat. Like, it'd be interesting to see how they play, because I know
it's just a bubble. That's all it is.
Yeah, well, some of the NRL and the AFL teams this year, when they had to travel, from New South Wales and they had to go into Queensland or go in last minute, really came in flat for that. Raiders is a classic example, going in there to play Melbourne.
Yeah, but both teams are going up and they're both going to be under the same
Yes.
restrictions.
Yeah.
So you'd think that both teams should be able to perform the same way.
Yep.
Who's got the mental toughness?
And then they might go to who's home, who's away. Like, one's like, well, this is, this Australia is the best we could do. It'd be worse if we were anywhere else at the moment. So
Yeah, indeed. Injuries for India. I can't remember a touring team or any team being this injury ravaged during a test series. So Jadeja will obviously miss out.
yeah, but his injury, of course, from I don't want to say caused by the strains, but from
peppered. He got a broken fucking arm.
Yeah. Well, was it? It wasn't Sammy. It was the other one.
Mohamed Sami.
Yeah.
He did. So he's out because he got struck.
He broke his arm,
Yep.
and I thought Jadeja was thumb. And he,
no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, he's the right thumb, I think.
yes, yeah.
Backhand thumb. Bumrah been ruled out.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know how or why?
He played the whole match, so I don't know if he was.
Bumrah's injury there.
I can't be resting him because he would have had to bowl a lot without Jadeja.
Why would you be resting your best bowler?
Yeah, well, he's played the last 2 tests without missing one of his bowling mates, so it could be just wear and tear, and they want to rest him. But drawn series where if you want to win it in Australia,
they wouldn't be resting him.
I don't think it's rest.
Vihari is
he might have a tight hand.
question mark because of his hammy.
Well, maybe Bumrah's got a tight hammy as well. Got anything, James?
He has been ruled out.
They're not saying anything. I can't see.
Just saying ruled out.
Nursing an abdominal injury.
Abdo strain.
Yeah. Well, that again could be a strain from bowling a lot. Just a lot of stretching and rolling his arm over a fair bit. Just all that tensing and tight muscles through his ribs.
So they're going to be down Bumrah, their best bowler.
Yep.
Coley's away. He's had a baby.
Congrats, Coley, by the way.
Yeah. Congrats, Anushka Sharma, Bollywood actress. I think they've had a baby girl. Don't have a name.
No name yet? Okay.
So that's best bowler, best batsman gone.
Colini or something.
Vihari is a question mark. He hadn't shown much chop this series until that really nice defensive innings to get the draw. Jadeja, he's gone. Am I missing anyone else? Shami, obviously from the starting.
Yeah. So they're missing.
They're probably five of their best.
Yeah, and missing 3 of their top 4 bowlers. So
if Australia lose this, there's going to be some serious bragging rights for the Indians.
Considering, all the talk in previous years of tests of resting Australia's fast bowlers and rotating them around, they haven't done any of that. It's been the same guys because it's like, we want to win.
We've been trying really hard.
Yeah, exactly.
We have been trying really
very,
hard.
very hard to win. So, a lot of questions.
Who I think, just quickly, so to replace Jadeja, they've got Kuldeep, the left-arm Chinaman, Kuldeep Yadav. I think he probably slots straight into the side here. And they've also got that Natarajan who played pretty well in the ODI and 2020s. I think he might come in straight for Bumrah. If Vihari misses out, then it's, who knows, maybe they bring back Prithvi Shaw, who played in the first test, didn't make fuck all runs. They might open with him and then sort of go from there. But geez, they are India is absolutely injury ravaged.
They're banged up.
Speaking of injuries, Will Pukovski, first test, diving, shoulder.
Putting the effort in the field.
Pops it out.
Yeah, did a Chris Lynn.
Yeah, poor fella. Jeez, he can't get much luck, can he?
No.
Struck in the head. Awesome talent and just can't buy any luck. I think they have confirmed that Marcus Harris will go into the side for Will. So you'd think that he will go straight into that opening position. Yeah. There was a little bit of speculation. Maybe Travis Head will come back in and they'll push Wade to opening. But just in the last few hours, they've announced that Marcus Harris will go in. Been travelling around to the side for 3 tests, gets his chance. What do we see happening up there in Brisbane? Do India break the 31 years of history of Australia not losing up there, or do the Australians seal the series and get the Gavaskar Border trophy?
How'd they win the series last time they came out? Did they?
So India won 2-1, I think.
Yes.
So they retain with a draw and obviously with a win.
Yeah. So they didn't.
So Australia has to win.
So if this is my point being, if it follows the same format, they didn't win Gabba.
Well, they mustn't
They
have.
mustn't
They
have,
mustn't
yeah.
have, according to that.
Yeah.
They
So
may-
maybe they won one. Well, of the first 3, they've won 2 of them. So they would have played.
Can you get that?
They would have played
India versus Australia,
Blackout
18,
MCG.
18, 19? No, 17, 18, I think,
Yeah.
was the series.
It would have been that series. It would have had to have been Perth, Melbourne,
They
Melbourne, Sydney.
They probably would have gone Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney.
Oh, maybe the other way around.
No. I think they would have played 4.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, would it be Perth first, Melbourne, Sydney, and then finish together?
No, I doubt it.
It'd be the other way around. Okay.
I doubt it. Because normally that's the order in a 5-test series.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney. But Australia and India's a 4-test series.
Yep.
So which one would have missed out? I think Perth, because I reckon they would have had a pink ball test. there in
Yeah, in Adelaide, yes. And it might have been the time when they were switching from the Wacker to
They might have been building the stadium. Perth
whatever
Stadium.
it's- Yeah, Perth Stadium.
Perth
I was just trying, what's it called now?
Optus.
Yeah, I thought it was, I know it started with O. I was thinking Opal, but maybe it is
Yeah,
Optus.
Optus.
I think it's Optus, yeah.
So,
yeah, it was 18, 19. It's not
Yeah,
long
well, it's
ago,
not long ago.
2 years ago. So it was literally New Zealand and Pakistan last summer,
Yep.
and then the summer before that was India.
yeah, India, yeah.
And what was the result there, Monks? Was it 2-1? So India won the pink ball series, pink ball test at Adelaide Oval.
Yep. And then
Australia win at Perth.
Yep.
So the Gabba, they didn't play at the Gabba.
Didn't play the go that series. Interesting.
India win the MCG, Matt Shawn, SCG. I think the Indian Cricket Board has made a point of trying to avoid
Or the
Brisbane.
Gabba. So, thinking about that then, you would say the Australians should be favourites?
They definitely should be, and
Yeah.
they should, weather permitting, they should win this. They should. Like the state of the Indian team in terms of injuries,
Yep, they should. And if they don't, you'd be asking a lot of questions.
indeed.
Yeah. And, well, here's a question for you. It goes back to Tim Payne, his frustration and the sledging, his captaincy. If he doesn't win this series, do you see him maintaining his captaincy, being the captain going forward, considering Steve Smith's there ready to go?
I think he's a pretty good leader. I honestly don't know if Smith will get the nod.
Yeah, even
Straight away.
if Payne, say, because Payne's not super old for a cricketer, but he's
36, 37?
35. I think we looked this up the other day.
Payne's
He's a
age?
bit
I
younger
think
than we
36,
thought.
maybe.
But he is an older
36.
cricketer. They go 36. So it's whether if you take him out of the side and bring someone else in, then who do you pick as your captain? You
They
probably
won't have. I don't think they'll bring an external captain in.
no. But out of if you take
If they
Payne
replace
out,
him as
who
a
would they replace
wicketkeeper.
him with? Because
I don't think they'll give it back to Steve Smith straight away.
yeah, well, I don't think they'll give it to Warner, considering
Nope.
his play. He had more of a play than say Steve Smith did.
Yep.
In that, so I don't think they'll go near him for Test captain.
Bowling captain, unusual.
Unusual, but then was it Starkey's probably been in the lair the longest? Maybe Cummins.
I thought they were grooming Head to be the next captain, and
True.
he's not making the side at the
yeah,
moment.
true.
Might be Jay Webster coming in, left arm Chinaman.
Maybe.
Cummins maybe makes sense a little bit. I could see that.
Maybe.
I wouldn't pick Gary.
I wonder who the last fast bowler. Can you search
captain.
last fast bowler to be captain of Australia?
What about? Here's one for you. What about Labuschagne?
That's a good shout.
Considering the
Very young,
very young, but again, you could be he's number 3. He's kind of cemented himself. Always gone runs. He's
How
having
long
a
has he
great
been
career
in the
so
side
far.
for?
2 years.
So yeah, a couple of years, but then they could be your Test captain for the next 10, which I think is what they wanted with Smithy when they first picked him. Was like, hey, he's going to be our Test captain for the next 10 years.
He's just got caught cheating. Everyone else does it.
Everyone, the boys got caught cheating, and I had to
Yeah,
take the
I
fall
had to
for
take
him,
the
fuckers.
God, he's a saint.
Yeah,
He's an absolute saint.
but yeah, if I'm looking at that 11, Labuschagne probably makes the most sense. And if I'm going to pick a bowler, maybe Cummins.
How far back are you going? So, what?
All right. So we got
Payne.
Payne, Smith,
Smith.
Watson, Clark.
What's a one test, I think?
Yeah.
Ponting.
Ponting.
Gilly, few tests.
Yep.
Steve Waugh, a bunch, obviously.
Taylor.
Taylor, a bunch. Border, a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Kim Hughes, all-rounder.
Mm-hmm.
Graham Yallop,
Who's a bat?
back in the 70s. Greg Chappell,
Bat. Ian Chappell.
Chappell.
Bat.
Yeah.
Barry Jarman,
No idea who the fuck that is. Bill Laurie,
Bill Laurie,
bat.
Brian Booth, Bob Simpson,
All-rounder.
Harvey, Richie
All-rounder.
Beno,
All-rounder.
Ian
Yeah,
Craig.
Beno could bowl a little bit, but he's not. I wouldn't say he's.
Click on him. Ray Lindwall. I think he was.
What
I think-
year?
I
What
think he
year
was
in
a
now?
bowler.
You in the
1950s?
50s? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he
So
might.
let's go with a fucking long time. That's 70 years ago.
I think he was a fast bowler.
All rounder.
Maybe none. Yeah. It's probably because they'd just
Well,
go, I'm going to bowl the next 40 overs. You boys are taking care of that end. He's like, field position. I want all 10 dudes just here around the wicket.
Yeah, again, I'm not even recognising some of these names.
Ian Johnson, maybe.
Ian Johnson
Specialist bowler.
Yeah.
Right arm off spin.
was captain when?
19-2.
Yep.
We sacrificed him to our guards.
From 1954 through to 1957
There you
for
go.
5 tests.
5 tests over 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
So I'd have to undo 80. No, that's not right. 75 years of
65.
75.
So
You said 50 something.
65.
And he's an accountant. Fuck me.
Yeah, you should have picked that one up.
it's closer to 70 than it is 60.
Anyways, you wouldn't think that. The point is, if anyone is still listening, the point is that a predominant bowler, a strike bowler, hasn't been the Australian captain since the 1950s. So you wouldn't think that Nathan the Goat Lion or any of the 3 quicks get that nod.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well,
History's made to change.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick
Rules are made
Lyon.
to be broken.
I wouldn't pick Starkey. I wouldn't pick Haswood. Cummins makes sense just because of he's probably the face of the bowling quartet. But he maybe not there as long as the others. So and then if we run through the batters, I don't think Green, of course, not getting it. Wade, don't think so.
Nope.
Smith we've ruled out. Harris has just come in. Warner can't be.
This is all.
It's got to be Labuschagne.
This is all if they don't.
If
go
they don't,
again with Smith.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do have to say, so Ian Johnson was a right arm off spin. Nathan Lyon, right arm off spin.
Yeah.
Playing his 100th test. I think this Gabba test is his 100th test.
There you go.
He's a goat.
Yeah.
That's all I've got.
Interesting conversation. Well, I guess we'll see what happens after the test. And do you know when the next series is? Are they playing another one this summer?
Next test series? No, nothing here. I'm not sure.
Next international?
Let's have a
Because
look
it's
at
probably
it.
not going to be for a little while.
Yeah,
Maybe in the middle of the year in the northern continent. But then again, the northern hemisphere.
Hemisphere.
The
The northern hemisphere.
But
I actually
with no
don't know.
travel, I don't think there would be.
We might be going to South Africa, but
I don't think many of the boys would want to head out there at the moment. All right, I think that probably wraps up Test cricket talk. Go Australia. I think it's going to be a close test, as the other ones have been. Should win. Probably favourites on all the betting agencies with the amount of injuries. But we'll see. When's that start? Tomorrow?
today is Thursday. Yeah, it's
Starts tomorrow. So when you listen to this, it's probably day 1 is underway.
Let's go Aussies.
Go
Yep.
Aussies.
All right,
Big Bash League.
Big Bash League.
Do you want to start with what's going on at the moment?
Yeah, so we're currently watching the Melbourne Renegades.
Get fucking pumped.
No, they got 75 on the board.
Yeah, 4 down though.
That's more than they've made twice.
That's so bad.
So the Renegades are currently in the process of playing the Brisbane Heat. They're 4 for 76 at Manuka Oval after 10 and a bit overs.
Yeah.
Obviously, run rate is good there. See if they can continue and bat out the end here. And
Finchy just got out an over or so ago as well, so which is not great for them.
This
They're no
Fraser,
batsmen.
I like this Fraser McGurk. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Next time he faces, he's going to get bowled out. The curse.
The curse of the pep and tater.
Webster's out there though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Bo Webster. I think Tasmanian fella. Tall middle order batsman there. Slow start for him, but can hit a ball. I'd expect him to get a move on with it shortly. let's review. We actually, thank God, we only have 5 games to review because of the short turnaround since the last podcast. Big Bash League match 34 saw the Perth Scorchers defeat the Sydney Thunder by 17 runs. Colin Munro, the Kiwi, had 50. Big Brendan Doggett had 4 for 22 for the Thunder. Sam Billings had 83 for the Thunder, the Pom. And Jai Richardson had 4 for 24. Scorchers get the bickies in that one and continue to rise up that ladder. As we mentioned last podcast, I think they started off in very ordinary state.
Very slow starters.
Yeah.
But they got a good squad. So
and a lot of it, I've only just, moment, they've just played like 4 games at Perth.
yeah. Well, Richardson's been great for them.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
he
been
looks
really
so
good.
dangerous.
Their bowlers are nice. Andrew Ty, Jason Berendorf.
Oh, yeah.
They've got a really good bowling core. And those Poms, Liam Livingston, Jason Roy, they can hit a ball. I think they'll be there or thereabouts for one of the best teams in the Big Bash this season. Match 35 saw the Sixers take on the Heat. This was one of the best games of the Big Bash so far. It went down to the last ball.
Peppy, how many runs did you hit in this game?
Joe Burns.
7. He didn't have a great one in this one. Chris Lynn, though, on the other end.
So the joke is that I look a little bit like Joe Burns. I need to grow my hair out and become like maybe 20, 30 times better at batting.
Yes.
And then we're on the way.
Do you though?
I definitely do. Love me, Joe Burns.
Could you hit 7 in the Big Bash League, you reckon?
God, no. If they wanted to, they could hit me 4 times in my ribs and get 3 in my poles, so that equals 7. So Joe Burns not making many in this one. Where was I? This match 35, Sixers and Heat, goes down to the last ball. Big Chris Lynn chips in again with 56. The big West Indian, Carlos Braithwaite, gets 4 for 18.
He looks good for the Sixers.
He just sort of dawdles in. Doesn't bowl express, but he gets a bit of bounce.
Got a good height, of course.
Yeah. He's pretty deadly. The Sixers go out there, and Dan Christian, who has been phenomenal this Big Bash.
He's bowling maybe not so much, but his batting has been excellent.
One of the cleanest strikers of the ball, getting around. One of the best finishers there is, getting around in the Big Bash. He had 61, so they need 11 from the last over. He goes 6. You go, oh, shit. From the 5 off 5, they've got this. Dot.
Yeah.
So it starts evening it up a little bit. Smacks it out to, where was it? Deep point, I think. Dropped. They get 2.
Your mate's just been hit right here in the goalies. So.
Ooh, in the Surav Gangulis. Ooh, yeah. That'll tickle.
Yep.
That will tickle. Ooh.
So, as you were saying, this is what Pepe would look like.
Oh. See, I'm much
But,
taller, so I think that's above the knee for me.
Not happy.
Definitely not the same as where the old Gangulis lie there. Where was I? All right.
Sorry.
6
2
drop.
For a drop.
Yeah.
2, Dan Christian dives in to make it. They need 1 to win off the end. He gets a waist high full. He puts it away for 4. One of the better finishes in the Big Bash so far. The Sixers get the win and go to the top of the ladder with that. The Adelaide Strikers get the bickies in Big Bash League match 36 against the Melbourne Stars. They win that game by 5 wickets. Nick Maddinson and Marcus Dornis chip in with 40-odd. Wes Agar gets the man of the match with 2 for 19 for the Strikers, and the Strikers boys shared the runs in that. The Stars are starting to look a little bit vulnerable.
Is that younger Agar? Is he younger brother?
I think he's younger. Yes, I think he's more hair Agar. He's bowls quicker Agar.
Okay.
He hasn't played for Australia and scored 98, batting 11
on debut.
on debut in the 2013 Agar.
Yep.
If you kept up to date with that one, well done. Match 37 saw the Perth Scorchers annihilate the Hobart Hurricanes by 9 wickets. Darcy Short finally got a few runs. Last year's leading run maker made 54 in this one. and that English impact of Jason Roy and Liam Livingston. They only lost 1 wicket, the Perth Scorchers. They go to an easy win there. Jason Roy, 74 runs. Liam Livingston, 54 runs.
It was interesting. Both those blokes, I think, were getting bagged at the start of the year because they weren't, start of the Big Bash League because they weren't scoring runs. So maybe that's part of their slow start is getting, acclimatised to the Australian Big Bash cricket.
Yeah.
And now that they've kind of found their form, they've kind of got used to maybe the pitches.
Anyone bag? Liam Livingston, I don't know as much about, but anyone that's bagging Jason Roy has got fucking rocks for brains.
Yeah.
Because if you look at his ODI and T20 career,
it's been so good.
Career for England, let alone going around the World 2020 comps and IPL and Big Bash, he's a class opener.
Yeah.
And really showed it in this one. Perth Scorchers sit third now. On our current standings, which we will get to in just a second after I cover last night's game at Mack Oval, getting back-to-back Big Bash games, including this one that we're currently watching between the Heat and Renegades. So last night, the Sydney Thunder play the Sydney Thicks. Wow.
Making its way around it.
So the Sydney Thunder played the Sydney Sixers in a top-of-the-table clash at Mack Oval. The Thunder made 166 runs off their 20 overs. It was rain-affected, a little bit of rain. You get much down here last night?
Late.
It was belting down in the Molonglo Valley for about 8 minutes, I reckon.
A lot of thunder, a lot of lightning.
Yeah, so that was probably more the concern was thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening. Anyways, Sixers go on to win this one by 5 wickets via the Duckworth-Lewis system. Alex Hales, I think, retains top run scorer. He smacked a quick 54 for the Sydney Thunder. And Dan Sams, he can hit a ball. He made 50 not out. And Stephen O'Keefe, 3 for 15 for the Sydney Sixers, best of the bowlers. Josh Phillippe, as we've mentioned, really class batsman. He had 64. I think he got out. They needed 1 to win off a fuckload of balls, and he got out, so didn't get to hit the winning runs and get the red ink. But the Sixers get the win via the DLS there and go to the top of the table, I believe.
Yep.
That's what you said before, so yeah.
And speaking of the top, Phillippe
still on top just by
a few runs. Recently on top.
Recently
on top, 337. Overtakes Alex Hales there on 323.
Well, 54 and 64 respectively in that match.
That'll help. So, that'll help.
Give him a 10 run difference.
And Joe Richardson, as you mentioned, he's leading wicket taker at the moment with 18. And the younger, more hairy Agar, second with 17.
It's not bad, actually.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
The ladder, if you don't mind, James, the defending champs.
Yep. So obviously at the top we've got Sydney Sixers on 29 points and Sydney Thunder on 23. After that, as mentioned, we have Perth Scorchers on 20. I guess drawing with Adelaide Strikers on 20 as well. After that, we've got Hobart Hurricanes at 19. Brisbane Heat and Melbourne Stars are on 16 each. And then rounding out the table, we've got Melbourne Renegades on 9 points.
So, as mentioned before, the Renegades line through them. They're done. The Melbourne Stars have really slipped on paper with the likes of Maxwell and Stoinis and Maddinson and a good group of bowlers to support them. Probably underperforming.
All that in mind, Scorchers, Heat, Stars and Renegades all have one game in hand.
One game in hand. Looking at that. Sixers, they're home. They're 6 points ahead of the Thunder in second. So they're playing in the finals.
Yep.
Thunder 23.
What's their record at the moment? Are they
7 and 3. 7 and 3, but each, I think they've got a few bonus points
as well. Yeah.
Yes, they've got 8 bonus points.
So Thunder 23, you'd think they're home. That gives you the Perth Scorchers on 20, Adelaide Strikers on 20, Canes on 19, and then it's a bit of a dogfight for that last, because it's five teams make the final, remember. Right. So Renegades are gone. It's going to be out of those Hobart Hurricanes, Brisbane Heat, Melbourne Stars for that last 2 positions.
So is this where that bonus point starts to come into play?
Maybe.
Yeah, now it's starting to get interesting because how many
talking
weeks they
about
got
that last
left?
week.
They've got two
Well,
more.
there's teams that have played 9, teams that have played 10. They play 14 total.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But they're going to play those next, say, 4 to 5 games in the next 2 weeks or a week and a half?
about 2. I don't think the first finals till just after Australia Day. Or it might be Australia
It
Day.
might be Australia, so the 26th. Yeah, so that's
13 days
13
away, 2
days
weeks.
away, yeah.
2 weeks, yeah. I don't know. Just looking at that, I would say the 2 Sydney teams are home, and then those last 3 spots is open to anyone other than the Renegades.
Yep. Poor Renegades.
Finals start on the 29th of Jan.
There you go, 29th.
So this game against
They got their names there. We've got to learn these. They got funny, there's the Eliminator and there's the there's the Crusher and there's the Butt Sweeper and what are they called?
I do not know. They don't
Have they got
have
it
them
there?
here.
No,
No,
I
they
think I think the first one's called the Eliminator, and then there's like just look up Big Bash League finals names.
So you
They all got special names.
listen to what you're saying there. Then this game for the Renegades means nothing, but for the Heat, it's very important. And they'd probably want some bonus points now too.
Yeah, it'd be handy.
So it'd be interesting to see how they come out in their first 10.
So
Carrying, I think they had to hit 71 or 70 in their first 10. Very doable.
Indeed. Renegades 4 for 97 after 14. Probably not breaking any record books thus far. 6.9 and over.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they're done. Put a line through them.
Yeah. Alrighty. Is that going to wrap up cricket for this week?
I think so.
What are these names?
couldn't find
Eliminator.
his
It
name.
says right there. It says right there. The first one is Eliminator.
It does when you click on it.
And then if you go to the next one, it should
All right.
it'll have something else. It's not like semi-finals, finals. You know what I mean? It's not preliminary final.
As long as they don't have a semi-final first and have a quarter-final after it.
Yeah, well, that makes no sense, does it? They should have names.
All right.
Get back to us.
So we got the eliminator
Yeah.
and then the qualifier.
Qualifier.
Yeah.
So
A
that
little bit more boring.
so
For
the
them,
eliminator is 4 versus 5.
Yeah.
So one of them goes.
Yeah.
1 and 2 get it off. I think the qualifier there is 3 versus 4, and then they go ahead.
To play probably 1.
1 or 2.
Do 1 and 2 play against each other?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's very hard. It's very difficult.
Hang on. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's 5 finals.
5 finals.
Yeah.
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 And we've got the eliminator and then the qualifier.
And then the knockout.
The knockout, yeah. So this makes sense. Right? So 4 and 5 are gone. 4 and 5 are gone. One of them goes through. Then the qualifier, I've got it now. That's 2 versus 3. That's
Okay.
2 versus 3.
Yes.
So they're going to go through to the next round, the winner of that. The loser is going to go through to that game that you just brought up,
The knockout.
The knockout.
the knockout.
Okay.
The winner of that is going to go through to the
The
challenger.
challenger.
I still don't know where number 1 comes.
Number 1 gets like.
Fuck, who would have
Well,
thought?
they've got to buy all the way through to.
They don't make the final. I think they come up in one of those later games.
Semi-final?
No,
challenger.
There's no semis or prelims here, mate.
The
It's just challenges and eliminators and knockouts and
And obviously
Decider.
the last one's the final.
Yeah,
final.
Is it called the final or is
It's
it
called the final.
All right, here's what we're going to
They
do,
ran
guys.
out. They ran out of their marketing budget.
To save his listening to this garbage, we've also spent 50 minutes on cricket here. We're going to have a look at how this system works and get back to you next podcast. Thank you very much, Monkey, for trying to get on top of that. Who would have thought you needed a degree in fucking advanced physics to understand how the Big Bash final series works? Sean,
All right.
do we have some NRL off-season news?
Yes. I think we'll run through a bunch of stories and then we'll come back to the NFL. So Let's start with the NRL. First up, Josh Mansour has signed with Souths. He was told he was unwanted by Penrith after the grand final, so he's been out there on the market. Souths, of course, just lost Allen last week, where we talked about, where he's going to the Doggies to play fullback. So, of course, they probably needed some extra support there in their back line.
Yeah. Interesting. Ex-Origin player, and I believe
played for Australia.
For Australia, So handy pick up there from South. Obviously fallen out of favour in a very good Penrith back line.
Yeah.
You know, with Stephen Crichton.
He was getting paid.
Brian
He had a decent salary, and he's probably a bit more up in age compared to the rest of the squad, who are more younger guys. So
good looking bloke.
Yeah.
Jeez. It's my Mrs. Hen's party on Saturday. Josh Mansour, if you're listening and want to come carry the drinks, I'm sure the girls would appreciate that.
Oh, definitely. So then David Nofaluma.
So no thanks. No thanks. Thanks for the offer, Peps, but I'm all right.
Yeah.
David
Nofaluma re-signs with Wests for 4 years.
Yep.
I think the speculation was he was trying to get out of Wests.
Yeah, South had been a possible landing spot for him. Yeah. Obviously, one of the I think if you look up try scorers over the last 3 years, might be right up there.
Yes.
For one of those elite wingers, he just really knows where that try line is. Really big re-signing there for the West Tigers.
Yeah. Oh, it's probably a win for the Tigers because they've been very much struggling to get guys to come across to the club, and they missed out on retaining. So there's Mitch Moses left there. Who was the forward that went to Eels? Went to Sydney. Was it Madison? I think we came through. A forward from
might
West.
have done. Obviously,
left.
Aaron Woods a few years ago.
Yeah,
Josh Addo-Carr
they miss out. Like they have an agreement with Addo-Carr, and Addo-Carr was meant to come back, but he chose the Doggies. But he had an agreement in place for them, but obviously turned his back on them. So yes. Tigers finally get a win.
Yeah.
And keep a good player.
Good re-signing and a really handy player there. So
yeah. And then the final story was Wayne Bennett is not going to return next year as Maroons coach. I think he very much had a 1 year deal and was just like, hey, situation Walters is going to go coach Brisbane, so he can't be Queensland coach anymore. Do you mind doing it? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? I'm not doing over much at Souths anymore. I'm kind of trying to hand that off to my successor. So he's got some time there. It would not surprise me in 6 months' time they go, we may need a coach. And Wayne
put out the Bennett single.
Yeah, exactly. Because
that would sound way better in my head.
So we'll follow that and see if they can announce someone to be Queensland coach. I think.
Who do you reckon's in the running for that?
Who's the ex-Cowboys coach that got fired? It's not Trent Green. Is Green? Yeah, Green might, because he doesn't have a club. Paul Green. He might have. I'm thinking Trent Green, which I think is the Chiefs quarterback.
From like the early noughties.
Yeah, too many Greens. So Paul Green makes sense for a guy that doesn't have club footy that's been in around the Queensland guys for a very long time. So maybe him.
There'll be a bunch of
there'll be heaps of names. There'll be heaps of
putting their hand up for that, I'm sure.
Well, if there's no international rugby league next year, then maybe Mal makes sense. He's got nothing better to do. Bring the Mal Meninga back.
He's doing Malaganas Edward Johnson's down here in the capital.
They love him, the good old Malaganas Edward Johnsons.
How about
free promotion on Esky?
Mouthful, isn't it?
How about this one, Cam Smith?
No.
He hasn't officially retired yet. He's too busy playing golf in the USA.
Rugby League has named him as one of the possible long-term replacements for Wayne Bennett.
That'd be massive. The boys would listen to him for sure.
Well, if Craig didn't have another... Actually, no, he's New South Wales from. Don't worry. Ignore me. Bellamy, yeah. I think we'll follow that story and see what happens in the coming weeks. I don't think there'll be any quick movement on that, considering... If the season starts in March, State of Origin's not till May. So
there's donkey's years.
Yeah, it's a long time to cover that. Anyway.
Are they going back to the normal format for Origin?
That's what they've said.
Yeah.
Okay. I think as long as...
I hope they do. It was an interesting Corona enforced experiment. I like it in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
That first game was sloppy.
It was garbage. They played 2 and 3 much better, but yeah, I think... Yeah, middle of the year.
Yeah.
It's just a bit more dynamic.
Yep.
Guys coming in, get more opportunities, injuries and the like. So, which is not great for the players, of course, but it's good for the spectacle.
Yeah.
Okay, so AFL news. We kind of covered this last week of the general. The reports are all about lewd images, but they're all dick pics or him naked on the bed, exposing himself. We kind of very brave words. We vaguely covered this last week just to say, hey, that's what's happening. But it's come out this week more about some more women have come forward. It's not just one, it's multiple. He's been stood down by the club. There's I think club investigation. I don't think at this point the police are quite involved yet, but we'll see. Depends on what kind of harassment or if they want to get serious at all with any of that. Of course, not great for the general. So he's admitted himself. Well, he's been admitted to hospital to help monitor his mental health situation. But yeah, some of the stuff that they're saying, not great. I think one bird was saying that he would ask them to cross borders at the height of COVID just to come meet him, kind of thing. And it's like a bit too thirsty is probably the best way to explain it.
You got to throw you got to fish with nets. Yeah. Just throw a line out. More seriously, feel for the girls involved, and with John Patton, and hopefully he can get his career back in line after this.
It shouldn't have.
As I said last week, if they want to start sacking guys for a few dick pics, they're going to have to sack half of all professional leagues in sport.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not saying that makes it right. I'm just saying that's the standard that you're starting to set.
I don't think this should affect his career at all. Like it'll be very much on the mental.
It will affect his career. He's been stood down by the Hawthorn Hawks, and he was struggling for.
I think my point was being more. It won't affect his talent level. Like it's not an ACL knee injury or anything like that.
I get that.
It's definitely it's going to be a very much mental thing. He's got to come back to it. I guarantee all the other blokes he plays against week in, week out, go back to the sledging talk. They'll be getting stuck into him about his dick pics. And it's like, where's mine? You didn't send me any dick pics in the off-season.
This is my final statement. I just want to see that hog that he's so confident to be sending that to multiple women, because I tell you what, I struggle to show him a fiance. Wait a minute, it's not ready.
Yeah, it's cold. It's a bit cold.
It's not warm enough.
Cold. It's Canberra winter here, for God's sakes. I think this does affect his career. You've been let go by Hawthorn, obviously a number 1 overall draft pick at the GWS Giants. I think it's not helpful.
Yeah,
helpful. He's going to have to rebuild from this.
Well, I don't think he's been released, but stood down as in just stay away from the club. Don't come to the club.
Yeah.
You're out of the top list essentially. You're on like a reserve list, whatever. We will sort this all out and then make a decision on what we're going to do.
And there was another lesson from last week, boys. What was it? Don't have your fucking face in the picture.
Yes.
I mean, anyone's cock.
Yeah.
Oh, my cock.
Yeah.
This is the cock of the internet.
Yeah.
What would be worse though?
It's like, I thought you were white.
Yeah. And Jewish. Moving forward.
Moving on.
Moving
You'll
forward.
scroll that, James.
Some serious. Let's talk about some sport. Let's talk about some actual sport.
We'll come back to that. Keep going. Let's cover this stuff. So F1, we talked a little bit last week about the postponement of the Melbourne GP. The Grand Prix in the F1, that is. Sorry, they've now given us a bit of a date. It's now November, which I think's very close to the back end of the season. I think they've just very much pushed it to as far away as they could, in the hope that possibly they'll do it and everything else will clear up in the interim, so that when they can come back, that there isn't any restrictions or quarantining and stuff like that. Hopefully thinking in, say 10 and a half months' time, they will be in a better position with all the vaccines, etc. going on, that they can just come over and do the race without much hindrance.
So where are they going to start?
I think Bahrain Bahrain's where they're going to start. And I think they'll spend most of the time, as we talked last week, in Asia and Europe. And don't know if Do they have a Mexico or US race listed?
Yes, they do. So
Before or after the Australian GP?
before, it's only... So I can quickly run through the list. So we've got Bahrain, Sakhir, and then we'll go to Imola again, which was a very exciting race last year.
Yep.
The third race for the season is to be confirmed, so nothing yet. After that, we're in Spain, Barcelona, Spain, then Monaco, then Baku, Azerbaijan, Montreal.
Try that one again.
Azerbaijan,
Not bad.
Montreal, and then La Castellet. I missed that one, France.
Yeah.
And
Just like
then,
France.
yep, and then we're in Austria, England, Hungary, Belgium,
All Europe.
Netherlands, Italy, Russia, Singapore, Japan.
Yep.
Then we cross to the US. We race in Austin.
Yep.
Then we go to Mexico.
Yep.
Then Brazil.
Yep.
Then Australia. Then Abu Dhabi, and we round out the season at Saudi Arabia for the first time, and then we round out the season at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
So US, Mexico, Brazil before Australia.
That's not so bad.
And the rest of that is all Europe and a few in Asia.
It'd be interesting because that back end of the season there, that Australia race could be super important for. Because I think Hamilton sewed up this year's one with 4 races to go.
What's the date there?
Yep.
21st of November.
21st of November.
That's a good date.
Yeah.
That's post footy. It's before cricket's really heating up.
Yep.
It might be a good move, I think, for F1 fans in Australia.
Yeah. Well, that's, I think, probably the reason why they do, was it 1st of March, they kick the season off. Yeah, is, again, because it's before the footy all starts. It's in Melbourne, so that's after the tennis, of course. So it's in that nice little lull period there. But yeah, it's not a bad spot to start it.
Funny you mentioned the tennis there. Should we have
Let me finish the F1 and then we'll go to tennis.
apologies?
Monkey had this story.
Yeah, so Renault's principal Cyril quit. Obviously, Renault rebranding as Alpine as their sports brand for the next season. He's decided that he wants to move on. I think that's left Renault's performance CEO to act as principal until they find a replacement, I believe.
That's a big loss for them because he's been super important to that.
He essentially built
team
Renault
that's
back
what
up
they're called.
from 2016.
Exactly.
When they came back into F1.
Getting Ricciardo across as well, big win for them. And you saw how their season this year much better than they had been previous. Like you'd see they were building to something.
Yeah.
So, Ricciardo, of course, was leaving to go to McLaren. That was always going to happen. But losing him is a big loss for that team going forward.
Yeah. Rumour is he quit before he could get that tattoo for Ricciardo getting onto pole.
Well, Ricciardo did it twice, so he can't opt out. He goes, he didn't get flukered, he did it twice. So.
That's it. And then again, no news on Sir Lewis Hamilton and his contract with Mercedes, so that's all still up in the air.
Same with Bottas.
No, Bottas has been.
That's right. He's gone.
He's signed.
He's
still with Mercedes.
Yeah, so he's re-signed Mercedes. So that means George Russell staying put unless Hamilton leaves.
Yep.
Okay.
I believe so. Yeah.
Which I don't think he'll leave. He may retire, but
He may. He's been asking a lot in his contract talks.
Yeah.
So he's been wanting, I think it's £40 million a year on a 3-year contract.
Pounds.
And a percentage stake in Mercedes.
Oh, he's gone that Conor McGregor money. Give me a percentage.
Yeah. Maybe partner.
Yeah.
He is. So obviously we'll keep an eye on that as the season draws close. It's going to be a very interesting couple weeks, with the first race being 28th of March.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you. I think that finishes up F1. Peppy, tennis.
Not too much to report other than the Australian Open is going to go ahead here in Melbourne. Where we expected an influx of 12 to 1,400 players, support staff, coaches to come in.
Yeah. All to be in a bubble.
So they can go to their hotel, they can go out to train, they can go play.
Crowds?
No word on crowds.
I know, I think they've had a week straight of no COVID in Melbourne. In Victoria. So they've been doing all right. Queensland, I think they've got a few, and New South Wales with less. I think Queensland's struggling a little bit at the moment with the UK flu.
You remember my thoughts from last week on the COVID chapter? Hang on, let me try. That's just my mouth.
That one's for you, Steamer.
For you, Michael Steamer.
So what do they have to do? They got to do daily COVID tests for players.
Yeah, daily COVID tests, which you'd think might impact a little bit on your preparation. I suppose it's only a few minutes, and
yeah, I think some of the tests they've gotten down to 15 minutes as well. So
pretty quick. Not the most comfortable thing, obviously.
Yeah, as long as they're not going out anywhere, they stay in the bubble. I think the issue is probably less players and more support staff, because support staff are going to be the ones running around doing all the stuff for them. So if it's like, yeah, I'm not feeling it today, can you go get me a pack of 10 nuggets? And he disappears out of Macca's to get nuggets, or get a delivery and they talk to the delivery driver, and you never know. Like it's.
Or hey, I'm Nick Kyrgios and I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, I need to go. I got to go to the pub before I play a semi-final this year. So.
Speaking of, Bernard Tomic qualified for the Australian Open as well today.
Another outstanding role model.
He's rebuilding his career. He's going to do it. You can't. No one can see my sarcastic eyes going back and forth. Fuck you, baby.
All right.
Yeah.
It's tennis. Who really cares that much anyways?
Yes. Moving on. Back to some motor racing. Dakar Rally. Do you guys know about the Dakar Rally?
Yeah, no.
Heard about it a little bit?
Yeah.
So,
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, I'm a bit more familiar with it through previous years, of course. Previous drivers. Interesting enough, the reason I put it in here is Toby Price, who's won it twice, was injured, so he came off his bike. So the Dakar Rally is usually was done between France and then down to Dakar, which is in South Africa, in Africa, sorry. And then
Where is it, Sean?
France to Africa.
Yeah.
I said South Africa. I was like, no, I meant the south-ish of Africa. Like it's in Africa.
Call it West. Call it West.
So then, of course, they had issues with. They were worried about guerrilla and rebel groups out in Africa, so they moved it and was in South America for many years, and now they're doing it over in the deserts around Abu Dhabi. So last year's, I think this year's race are both in the Middle East. But the story I wanted to cover was Toby Price, who's the Australian, won it twice. He came off, injured his head, which is not what you want to do. Of course, he's a bike rider. He's had an accident and had to be airlifted out. It's kind of reminiscent. I've completely forgotten his name, but an Australian rider came off, I'm talking like 12 years ago now, hit his head, like came off his bike doing about 100 straight into a rock. Dead instantly. It was actually a guy that my uncle knew who was a professional rider in Victoria for a very long time. So we had a connection. That's how I kind of got into the Dakar Rally.
Yeah.
So for him to come off, I hope he's all right. I think he's in hospital, hopefully recovering. We'll have to see what's the reports on Toby Price. He was third, I think, at the point in the race with 3 stages to go. Actually, I think it finished. What's the 14th? It finishes tomorrow, which would be our Saturday, I think. Based on that, so it finishes on Saturday. The race, it's been going since the 4th, right. So it's a long race. So
what are they just cruising around the Arabian desert?
Yeah, so it's point to point, of course, like stage races, but it's basically it's desert racing. You've got to navigate yourself. You've got to work it out through the stages. And I think because Toby came off, I can't remember if it was 2nd or 4th place, was right with him. So he was there straight away to go. I saw him came off. He was not with it. He was, going in and out of consciousness. So he helped him out, get the support staff in, and they take him away. But it's well known in the Dakar Rally that you may spend all night out driving around and then maybe have to camp with your bike or with your car because you haven't got the end of the stage yet because you just lost. So it's one of the more full-on races that's out there, for a rally race.
What was the original version of the Dakar Rally? Was it motorbike or car first?
I'd say car first.
Yep.
Makes the most sense. But yeah, definitely from France down to Africa, down to Dakar, to actual Dakar. That's where the name comes from. That's why it's called the Dakar Rally.
Senegal. Any history there on the...
So back on Toby Price, fortunately only shattered collarbone.
Oh, very good.
So no real serious injury other than that.
Yeah. Which is good news for him, of course.
Collarbone. You don't want to do it, but of the bones to break, it's, up there
Yeah.
with one of the more favourable.
Not comfortable,
No.
but it's definitely one that you can heal, and then it's also not going to affect any athletic performance overly much either.
Indeed.
What
What else have we got here on our...
just running through news stories, the NHL.
which we know heaps about.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll probably get more into it in the NBA when the NFL finishes up. But the NHL, I think, officially started today. I think it was the start date. Or it's either tomorrow. Did they start on the 14th or 13th?
No, we got results. We got results.
games.
Yeah, so there's a few games. I don't think they're doing any of the bubbles like they did to end the season last year. But they've just kicked off. They've only literally just started the season, so we will get into that a bit more as that goes. Any early takers? I think Tampa Bay won last year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Because Tampa won.
So they beat the Blackhawks.
Who won the baseball? It wasn't Tampa, was it?
They didn't, but I think they were in
The final,
Yep.
yeah.
I'll check that.
Yeah, because then there's talk. Yeah, I think there's been talk about the Buccaneers, and we'll get to the NFL about
And the Heat were also in the NBA playoffs. In the finals, obviously went down in that.
So a lot coming from one area. Of course, if you know the US, there's no state tax, I believe, in Florida, so that helps getting high-profile players to come to you.
Does it though? Because
It does. California is like 14% for these
Yeah.
blokes, whereas Florida is 0.
Why has it taken Tampa Bay to get into the playoffs for so long then?
It's hard to find a quarterback, but we'll get to that. So what are you looking up there on the NHL that you want to cover real quick?
Not so much. So the games that happened yesterday, we had Pittsburgh Penguins losing to Philadelphia Flyers 3-6.
Pittsburgh were in the finals and got knocked out early. I do remember that.
We had the Toronto Maple Leafs pipping the Montreal Canadiens 5-4. As I mentioned, Tampa Bay Lightning beat out Chicago Blackhawks 5-1. Vancouver Canucks beat Edmonton Oilers 5-3.
That's going to be my team, Canucks.
Canucks.
Actually, I've got some Canuck. You just continue.
More memorabilia.
More memorabilia. I was like, shit, I actually got memorabilia like that.
And rounding out
Add
yesterday's.
it to our wall.
I think you can say Canuck this.
Can. And we had St. Louis Blues beating out the Colorado Avalanches 4-1.
Well, you know what my team is. Go the Avalanche.
Colorado. Have you ever been there?
No, unfortunately, I haven't.
I've been once.
Yeah. Well, you've been, of course, go skiing, I'm assuming.
Yeah, to ski. It's actually a lovely place.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah, Colorado Springs is probably the one I'd want to visit. That's what I've heard so much about. That's really good. Denver, of course, city, probably, 200,000 more people than Canberra is now?
Maybe more.
Maybe
I think,
300?
yeah, in the city itself, but in the metro area, I think it'd be good 2-3 million. So it's actually quite large.
Yeah. Because really that's my only experience with some of those other sports like Nuggets, Avalanche, and I've forgotten what the baseball team's called.
They're called the Rockies.
Rockies, yes, the Rockies. And, of course, the Broncos. As evidenced by everything in the room.
Yeah, we might need to change it up. get a little bit more going in here on the Esky.
Yep. So NBL, MLB, sorry, last season.
Yes, yep.
So it was Tampa Bay making that
Final, but didn't win.
of the World Series.
Didn't
they lost to the La Dodgers.
The Dodgers, yes. Very good, thank you. EPL. So United are now first.
United.
After everyone giving them shit for being in the bottom 10, they're now number 1. After they've gone excellent run.
To be honest, lackluster for the last 5-6 seasons. So really nice as a United fan to see them back in control. Liverpool had a draw this week, so they will slip to 2. They've had, I think, 6 draws on the season. Obviously, still a lot to go.
Yeah, long time to go.
Long.
How's Sheffy going?
They got to win.
They got to win. They finally got to win.
So they go to 5 points.
Yeah,
they go to 5 points.
They got to beat 12, I think it was, to have the
12 Derby County.
Yeah.
Derby County.
Yeah.
So
to get the not the worst record ever in
points.
APL.
8 points to go ahead there of Derby County. Not too much to cover there, other than a lot of Corona.
Yeah,
Glad
UK,
to see,
of course,
glad
a lot
to
of
see
Corona.
the season going ahead. That's about it, really.
Yes.
Yep.
Our Leeds doing
Leeds are about middle of the table, aren't they?
Yeah, let me just bring them up.
still middle. It's not bad for a first year back in the APL.
Yeah, 12th is middle.
Yeah. We'll keep rolling. Okay, let's go NBA and we'll finish with the NFL. Because I think probably one of the biggest stories today was the James Harden trade.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. Monks, do you want to just bring up the details of the actual trade? Because there's a lot of involvement. There's 4 teams? 3 teams? I know there's at least
4 teams.
Four involved. Four
Yep.
teams involved. But following the whole thing is a schmozzle. Schmozzle.
Yep, I read the headline and kind of just checked out today.
All right. So James Harden's confirmed going to the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes. Definitely on the Nets, going to go join Durant and Ivan. There's
Irving.
So, yes, agree with you. There's talk about they might move him on possibly, but it looks like the push to have Harden join Durant means they're probably committing to Durant long term. So, which is good for them. They're going to be an unreal. If they can work together well, they're going to be an unreal force. Working well together is probably a question that Boogie was a little bit talking about, but we'll get to that. Let's talk about this trade first. What's the details in the trade?
So I think the Rockets get a lot.
I want to bring it up.
No, I've got it.
Oh, well, you've got the details? Yeah.
So the Rockets get Victor Oladipo,
Monks, is this camera recording?
Dante Exum,
Okay. The light's just not on.
the Aussie.
Keep going. Start again. Go, baby. I can see it now. Yeah.
So the James Harden trade.
James Harden trade. Sorry, I was interrupting. Blame me. Keep going.
They get Victor Oladipo.
Yep.
Yep.
They get Dante Exum, the Aussie.
Yep.
They get Kuruc.
So Dante comes from Cleveland.
Yeah,
so he-
via Utah, I think.
Okay. Yep.
Then they get one of Milwaukee's first round picks.
Yes.
They get 3 first round picks from Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And they get, I don't know what a first
Is that
round-
3 next year?
I don't know. It's hard.
It's listed as 22, 24, 26. So I'm assuming.
Next year.
I'm assuming that's next year.
Next year. Then the Pacers get Karis LeVert and a second rounder.
Nets just get James Harden.
And then the Cavs get Jared Allen and Taurean Prince.
Yeah, to then, of course, move Exum and some of the other guys and get some stuff back in return. Wow, that's crazy. Crazy amount of the trades in there.
You need a fucking physics degree to understand the Big Bash finals. This is actuarial studies. Seriously.
Yeah. I think the Rockets boys are very happy they get Victor to come across and join their starting 5. I think Boogie was talking about that today. He was like, he's very happy that is the case. That they're happy to get him.
What else was Boogie talking about today?
Yeah, well, he's happy to play with John Wall was probably the other one too.
And what else?
But yeah, I think the main one was there's 14 guys coming into training every day. We're coming to work. We had nothing against James Harden. I think James Harden made a few comments which wasn't too pleasing to the player base about, hey, they're not committed, they're not going to improve, they're not going to win kind of thing. They're just not going anywhere. Whereas Boogie was saying, hey, we're committed to this team. We're here to play. We're here to win. We're going to do the best we can. I'm excited to play with the guys that have come in. But yeah, James.
But what was Boogie saying about his former teammate, James Harden?
Well, what are the quotes, baby? Go for it.
I only saw it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Who knows if that's a trusty source? But essentially was like, doesn't give a fucking preseason, doesn't care about this team, has shown us no respect.
Yeah. Well, there was talk about he showed up overweight. There was the fat Harden pictures.
Harden.
Yeah, there's definitely looks like there's something to it. So Boogie usually speaks truth.
I think this is a good move for the Rockets.
Yeah,
in the long term.
They've got heaps in return. So they've got a bunch of good young players as well.
They can invest. They can
heaps
invest.
of first round picks. They're not top picks. They're in the 20s, but you're still going to get quality players.
James Harden's a freak. He's top 5 player in the NBA. He's really good, good. But
you could even so high to, he's
he might be top 3.
Yeah, he's 2 years removed from an MVP. That's.
But if he's no good for your locker room, and you don't see him as a part of your future, then fuck off.
So that's the question. So how's he going to fit in with those other two big names? Who's going to be taking those key shots late in games? They'll all try. So it's going to be one hell of a coaching effort over there to be able to pull that all together.
So a little meme today. It's when Harden gets to the Nets and it's on 2K. Yeah. So they're all just dribbling. I think it's like Kyrie goes up and he's just hogging the ball, and then he just dishes it off to Durant and he's hogging the ball, and he just dishes it off to Harden, he's hogging the ball, and he shoots and just misses, and then they just go back the other way. Like I don't know, like on paper that should be the best team in the East.
Oh, exactly.
They should be the best team in the East.
They should be playing in the final, and who maybe
Lakers. You'd think Lakers. You'd think Lakers.
Yeah, I think because I don't know the divisions enough. They'd have to beat the Sixers to make it in.
6 in the East.
76ers. Is it?
Yeah, 76ers, maybe Celtics, maybe Pacers, maybe Heat, maybe Bucks. Yeah. It's pretty open in the East.
Because I think that's the flip of this conversation. There was still talk up until this trade happened that the 76ers were in on this deal and they wanted to make it happen. Mm-hmm. Of course, James Harden and Ben Simmons in that talk. Mm-hmm. But I think with the start that the 76ers had with Simmons and Embiid, with the support of the extra shooters outside, it's really worked for them. That's why they're playing really good basketball at the moment, and I think they're still top of the ladder in their conference from memory. But they're looking like they're competing. So why would you break up a good thing, especially if you're going to replace Simmons for another shooter? Maybe it didn't make sense for their roster, but
I think Philly made the right call.
Yeah, because. You might want to see year-to-year improvement in Simmons. Like, he looks like he's already playing this year better than he was last, and they've got a better chemistry than what they had last year, where it was very much reliant on him and Embiid to make something happen to then win games. And if one or the other missed, and then they kind of just that back and forth missing of cohesion of guys coming in and out and then knowing who was taking the lead and whatnot. I think they've got a new coach as well this year, Doc Bear, I think's over there.
Yeah.
He's been doing a bits, I think, for them. So they're looking good. Do you want to go back to what was the other stories in the NBA?
I was going to quickly ask, if you're a Rockets player, considering the Rockets now can pretty much rebuild in the next 2 years, how would you be feeling?
Good, I think. If a bloke is a superstar but he's not trying in pre-season and his heart's not there, then and good.
I think John
What
Wall's,
about your own future, though?
Yeah, I think John Wall's probably all right. I think Victor's probably okay. Boogie, maybe he's getting a bit up there.
He's getting old. Yeah.
So he's
still a quality
veteran. So he could definitely help. Like, hey, if you're going to rebuild, you might as well have your quality veterans there to help your new prospects come through. So I wouldn't be overly too concerned at this point. It might depend on how they do this year.
I think this year might be tough.
Yeah,
might be tough, but I think rebuilding.
They've still got some quality players there. So
yeah,
if they have a really bad year, say they only win 20 games,
they'll win more than that.
They should win more than that. That's my point. But if they win less than that, like they win like 20 games, then they're going to be. Then they'll start asking about a lot of questions. And like, well, we're going to clean house, bring in all new guys, and see how we go. If they're above 50%, like they're above 500.
They've done well. That's a win.
They've done well.
That's a win.
I think that's a win with losing arguably your best player and definitely your best player of the last decade. So
definitely their best.
If you're over 500, you're going to be happy with that. What was the other NBA stories, James?
Lonzo v. LaMelo.
Yes.
No, that was last week.
No. So that great bring that
LaMelo.
up. So
LaMelo.
He missed out on his triple-double by one assist in that match. In the next game, he did get his triple-double and became the first, youngest player to get a triple-double in the NBA.
Can I have LaMelo Ball, please, on the Googles? he would be 20, I think.
Maybe younger because
I
he,
think he-
straight out of high school didn't go to college.
Yeah, and
but
then he had
straight-
this year at the Hawks.
So he could be 19
I think
or something.
He's 20.
19.
Oh! Flex on him. Let's go.
Flex on you, baby.
August
19.
2001.
19, youngest man.
2001.
That's pretty crazy
Jesus.
because when you think about it, LeBron James entered the NBA at a similar age. No triple doubles, obviously,
Yeah.
at that age. So, LaMelo, maybe bright future. ahead
Right,
of him.
future. Well, he looks like he's already outplaying his brother. He's been in the league for 4 years now, 3-4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he develops after he definitely dominated down here. You tell
And
me.
huge for Charlotte, who
Yeah.
have been pretty poor for a while. So,
Is MJ finally working out how to build teams?
maybe. I think he's just building documentaries and smoking cigars
all the
and drinking
cigars.
whiskey.
Yeah. I think that
That's about it, isn't it?
that's major NBA stories. Of course, there's still games going at the moment. I'm not sure what the latter looks like.
We had an NBA ladder
I
up.
did. Did you see?
Lakers are ahead in the West.
Yeah. Did you see LeBron throw the no look 3-pointer?
I did, yeah.
Yes.
To his
How good
own
was
team.
that?
Yeah.
But
Throw it, turn around, and
but when Steph used to do that, it was against the opposition, and he used to do it. But that's still pretty cool.
yeah.
Throws
Oh, it got his
looks at
his
own
bench was so high.
Yes, let's go. In the East, it's pretty close. Bucks
Yeah.
8-4, Sixers 8-4, Celtics with a game in hand,
Yep.
7-3, Pacers 7-4, just about as you'd expect. Pistons, I tell you, Raptors 2-8. I'd expect a bit more out of them.
Yeah. Well, they're a different team without Leonard playing for them.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's 2 seasons removed.
of course.
You know, they still got Pascal Siakam. They made the playoffs last year. Should be better than that. Obviously, early days.
Well, we were just speaking of the Hornets. They're right at 500 at the moment, 66. So.
Not bad, not bad.
Well, they're just the one game behind the Nets, who
Who are 7-6?
Yeah.
Where is Kyrie Irving? But where is he?
yeah.
Because he's not been playing much.
It'd be interesting to see what they're like now with Harden coming across there. Whether that just jumps up or whether it takes some time to build some chemistry.
It should help. It should help. But their locker room's not going to be no bueno in terms of cohesion.
Oh, well. You know, day one, Harden's going to be like, boys, let's go to the strip club.
Let's go. We're going to win. We go.
it's like,
titties.
Yeah, it's like, when are we going to club? Let's go to club. Can we go to
I'm
club?
20-year-old just come straight out of college. I'm like, fuck yeah, James.
Yeah, I'm going to club. Let's
Put in
go.
my 8 minutes. I'll put in my 8 minutes.
Yeah.
What do we got in the West?
West. Yeah, so down.
Lakers
are going to
are 1, 10-3.
Oh, Clippers up there?
Clippers, 8-4.
Of course. Leonard's been at the
7-4. Suns 7-4. Blazers 7-4.
Golden State.
See,
You'd be... Well, the Nuggets are a bit low too, considering where they finished last year. Is Jokic injured at the moment?
Jokic.
Yeah.
Can we have a Nicholas Jokic update? Not too sure. I think that's...
It's still early, so the Nuggets and Warriors probably could put it together. I think they're going to be higher than they are
I think that's
now.
pretty close to how it turns out. I think the Pelicans and the Rockets might move up that. I think the Sacramento Kings, no bueno. The West is stronger. The West is stronger.
Well, those
than
the two LA teams. Like, you look at the guys on those teams. Yeah. And Golden State are definitely going to feature heavily. You'd say healthy Curry, they're going to be up there. But Thompson's out, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Clay's still cooked. I think Draymond's still cooked.
Yeah, he's going to have to carry them for a little while.
What you got there, Mr. Monkey Magic?
Looks like he's playing.
Big Jokic.
Yeah, just maybe starting off a bit slow this year. After, well, you got to remember they did finish playing basketball in December or very late November. It's a pretty.
I think it was December.
Yeah, it's a pretty quick turnaround for them. Like, they may be burning up from having a playoff run, and got to get guys back from that and get healthy. Enjoyed their Christmas breaks maybe a little too much. We'll have to see how they go.
Who doesn't?
I think that'll sum up our NBA chat for the week. Let's go to the NFL. I think that's all that's left.
Let's attack it.
We do have the college national championship as well.
Well, all right, let's start with that. Let's start with the college championship. Alabama. No surprise, Alabama wins. Okay, let's move on.
Come on. Nick Saban overtakes Bear Bryant as the most winningest coach ever in college football. He's got 7 national titles.
Yeah, Mack Jones throws 5 touchdowns.
Like ridiculous. I think he had 5 touchdowns and like 450 or something.
Yep. Smith has
Devontae Smith had 3 touchdowns, 220 yards in the first half.
Yeah.
Goes out halfway through the third with a broken
hand
finger.
injury. If it was close, I think he probably plays on, but
yeah.
But it's since they smoked him. They smoked Ohio, so it makes sense that you take it easy, bud. Start getting ready for your top 10 draft pick that you're most likely going to be.
Does he need to put on a bit of weight? He looks very skinny.
He is very skinny, but you look at what Ruggs and Judy did last year, very similar kind of skinny guys coming out. Still wearing
Ruggs and Judy got Heismans?
They didn't, and they went 11 and 15, so he's got to be top 10. I think Chase from LSU's the top receiver. Prospect-wise, but I think
he'll be the number 1 receiver.
It's after the way he's finished off the year, getting the Heisman, you'd say he'd definitely be there.
That's all you can do. His numbers.
They might combine still happen. That might come into a little bit. Maybe if
he'll be fast.
If he runs 4.4 and say Chase runs 4.3 or something, like 4.32, like low 4.3s, they might go, oh yeah, he's a bit bigger size and he runs quick. Maybe we can get.
I think Devontae his speed won't be an issue. I think maybe his size. He does look a little bit trim.
Yeah, I think
they can fix that up.
A few of the mock drafts I've seen, the Denver's now 9. I think overall picks, I think they had like 8 to Chase and 9 was Smith. So they're super close. So they're very hard to pick between them, which was kind of like what last year was with Ruggs, Judy, and CeeDee Lamb. Like they all slightly do things slightly different.
Yeah.
But they all had pretty good years. Ruggs, I think, kind of made sense. A deep threat that runs a lot, had hamstring injuries, then struggled with his hamstring during the year. Like that's what you're getting into when you drafted him. But Judy is a great route runner, excellent route runner, and then CeeDee Lamb, maybe not the fastest, but excellent hands, excellent route running.
Some of those catches this year.
And then of course Justin Jefferson sneaking up in the back going, I was better than all 3. Yeah, so
possibly, time will tell.
Yeah, of course time will tell. But on last year, unreal. Yeah.
Oh, obviously,
better quarterback play though compared to the other 3.
Well, no, Jefferson the best receiver out of that group this year.
Yeah. So Mack Jones, talk. He a little bit undersized for a quarterback.
What is he? Can we have some
6'1", 210 something.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, he's not.
Nothing wrong with that.
He's not the hugest, but he's good enough. I think that the concern's more about he's played for Alabama. So Tua's, he couldn't beat Tua. Tua was there for donkey's years. He's come in surrounded by talent. Smith, you got the Heisman receiver. You got an excellent O-line. What happens then if I take you and then put you on, say, the Falcons?
You can only be as good as the blokes around you.
Yes.
Size. What I'm going to counter argue to that is size is not an issue there.
Yeah. I wouldn't disregard him as size. Like there's guys smaller than him.
Russell Wilson, Drew Brees.
Yeah. And Baker's about 6 foot, I think, as well.
But 6'1".
All 3 of those have played in the playoffs. 1, of course, out now, and 2 still going. So. Yeah, I don't think size is much of an issue. I think if they're more, is he a game manager or is he a game winner? Is he like Lamar's probably a poor comparison, but like freakish athlete, freakish talent could possibly win you games. He's going to win you games versus you're an Andy Dalton kind of type where it's going to manage you and you need the support stuff around to win games.
Different comparison, I think.
Yeah. So. Because I think coming in the year, people were talking 4th round pick. Then some are saying now he got up to 3rd or 2nd, and after destroying Justin Fields,
he should be a 1st round pick.
Who then just destroyed Trevor Lawrence. If you connecting the dots, it's like he should be higher than those other 2. But first round, maybe. I think there's going to be concerns. People go back and look at his tape and say, well, he's played this year. How much was his ability versus the ability around him, and whether he. I'm thinking 2nd, maybe late first he sneaks into a team that
is he a senior this year? Like, could he forego the draft and play another year?
Oh, great question. I think he's already said he's coming out, but possibly, maybe not. Because if you were him, it makes sense. Go back and play another year. Then you don't have to come out the year that Trevor Lawrence comes out. Like,
you get another year under your belt.
Exactly. Don't come out the year that Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields comes out. You come out another year later, maybe you're the top pick, and then you go on top 5 versus maybe 15 backwards kind of spot. But on the flip side, we'll talk about Fields for a minute. Didn't have a great game after absolutely dominating Clemson. Talk that he probably played hurt after, sustaining the rib injury.
Yeah, he got smoked. He got smoked.
Not maybe not his 100%. So give him props for gutting it out. But, which Justin Fields are you getting? Are you getting Clemson Justin Fields? Are you getting Alabama Justin Fields?
I tell you, you're getting a fucking quality quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, he got really smashed in those ribs last week against Clemson. I don't think Ohio State really lost that game. I think they just come up against one of the best offenses that college football's ever
you
seen.
come up against one of the best college programs ever put together, especially in the last 10 years plus. Like, they're just so dominant, and they're definitely filled with high-level talent, and so many of them will be first-round picks next year. Like, they're saying
the records to beat is from Bama is 6 first rounders.
Yeah.
So they're predicting maybe that might happen this year.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. There's 32 guys that get drafted in the first round of the NFL, and to think that 6 come from the same program
Six
is
plus,
nuts.
Yeah.
So,
and considering, I think every year almost 3,000 odd college athletes come out, like seniors and guys that then commit, like, to have so many come from one program and then go into the first round, like percentage wise, like it's nuts. It's crazy. So, enough talk about SEC. Alabama wins. What was the score? 52 to something?
52-28.
Yeah, I think so. I think Seymour had a great game against
24.
Clemson. Did nothing in this one.
Yep.
But also, did Seymour get hurt as a running back? Because he did nothing in this. I think he had 2 carries. So, but he played a lot in the first. Well, he played a lot against Clemson.
Yeah, he had 1 carry for 2 yards.
Yeah. So let's talk about, Seymour's the truth, and then all of a sudden, nothing.
Maybe he got hurt.
Yeah.
You just read us Mack Jones' numbers.
Yeah, he gives Mack Jones' numbers because he had a great day. Like, honestly, he's starting to Smith. We said 200, 3 touchdowns, 12 receptions.
12 receptions.
Yeah.
So
that was in like 2.5 quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mack Jones on the day was 36 off 45, 464 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. So he completed, 26 other passes and 200 plus yards and another and several more touchdowns to other blokes that weren't named Smith. So still not a bad effort against a higher team and a higher defense that have been playing pretty well.
So back on Smith, the records that he broke on Monday night was single season receiving yard record, single season touchdown record, single game reception record, most yards in a half, career reception record for Alabama, single game receiving touchdown record, and then multi-game receiving record.
Who held the records before, does it say?
No, it doesn't.
No. So I know Crabtree had some unreal stats coming out of college.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to translate to the NFL game.
No.
Crabtree did have a pretty decent career, but not a long career. But then it also wasn't like the Hopkins or Stephen Diggs or DK comparison. Like, didn't have,
Devontae Adams.
Yeah, Devontae Adams. Like, didn't have any of those kind of years in him. Like, he was good, but he wasn't amazing.
No, that's a fair assessment.
So, it'd be interesting to see what Smith does. We'll wish him all the best.
Definitely.
Should we have a look at these NFL playoffs?
Yeah, can we talk about playoffs now?
Colts Bills?
Let's bring that up.
Yeah, start with Colts Bills. Did we talk about any of these? Well, I think we just ran through the results because we did Sunday morning. These
we just mentioned the result.
Yeah, so Colts Bills Colts game would have ended when we did our last one. As we said, Rivers of course being knocked out. But there were some interesting stats, I think, from this. I just run through. So Josh Allen in the red zone career, he's got 42 pass touchdowns, 0 intercepts, and 23 rush touchdowns.
That is fucked up.
That's mental.
Yeah.
Michael Pittman, wide receiver, second round out of USC, looks good for Colts.
I think he'll.
Okay, go.
I think he'll be the number one receiver for the Colts next
Next
year.
year, yeah.
TY looks like he's on the outer.
It'd be really interesting to see what they do with that team quarterback-wise as well with Rivers, whether they bring him back or not.
Do you think Rivers will go again?
If he's going to go again, it'll be with them.
Yeah,
But hard to say.
I think during the game commentary was like, he's had a good run. He's happy to hang up his boots if he's doesn't get extended.
Yeah, definitely. So Bills were up 24-10 early in the fourth quarter in this game. So Colts did come back late to try and push it closer. Rivers and Allen both were over 300 yards in this game. Colts only ran for less than 160, but not good.
That's over.
Over 160. But, I was trying to read. What are you getting at here?
Yeah, so if the triangle goes...
No. I get what you're saying. I didn't understand what I know what the no good was about. Because I was like, 160 yards, that's good. I guess it was they ran for 160 yards, but they still didn't win this game. They had a good run game.
Correct. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, not good enough.
No bueno.
Yeah.
So Colts fumble overturned at the end of the game, which gives them a Hail Mary chance. But, of course, it was no good. They didn't get the points they needed. The final kind of news out of this was, unfortunately for Zach Moss, his year is done. I think he had an ankle injury for them, so he won't feature in the rest of the playoffs. And like we talked last week, they need a running game, and they've signed Devontae Freeman.
Oh, did they?
Yes, who was with the Giants, signed late with the Giants after Barkley got injured.
Yep.
Didn't play too much. Giants, of course, sucked. I think he got COVID and then got hurt as well, so it didn't help his points. But they've signed him as an extra. I'd figure Singletary's probably going to get the bulk of the carries. And,
you'd think so.
And they'll fit Freeman in wherever. But, of course, as we said in our last podcast, Bills' first playoff win since 1995.
How old are you in 1995, Monkey?
Quick math.
5.
Yeah.
I was in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hitting on all the little girls. So the Rams upset.
Yep.
You were 5 as well. It's not a bad thing. Rams upset Hawks 30-20 in Seattle. Probably didn't help Seattle. There wasn't much. I don't think they're allowed crowds at the moment, so no 12th man for them.
The 12th man is non-existent.
Was pretty quiet. Luckily, the first quarter with 3-0 to the Rams. The Rams get a pick 6. How do you say it? Darius Williams takes that to the house. He did that while we were on the podcast, and DK couldn't chase him down in this one.
Pretty hard.
He jumped the route perfectly, like trying to set a screen up. And
I think it was probably only 30 out from the Rams' own end zone.
And he had a probably 10-yard lead, so made it easy.
Jumped that and took it to the house, and it might have been the deciding score, actually.
So... yeah, could have been. Yeah, definitely. Because the Hawks did strike back very quickly after that with DK scoring a touchdown. That Wilson and DK connection.
50 yards, yeah.
But Robert Woods goes ahead and scores a touchdown after that. DK gets a second touchdown, but that wasn't enough for them. The Rams, hold on. Aaron Donald got hurt in theirs. I think he's been limited at training during the week.
It seems like it's a day-to-day decision for the weekend up in the frozen tundra.
Interesting thing about this was Goff came into this after 2 drives. Well, I think midway through the second drive, because I only remember it as Heineken. That's not his. No, that was Washington's quarterback. What was this? It was
Heineken.
Yeah,
Heineken.
Yeah. But everyone calls him Heineken.
Wolford.
Yeah, he got hurt, of course, and got whacked by Jamal Adams. So he missed out in this game. Thankfully, all right. But I think, of course, they're going to go with Goff going forward. For Seahawks, though, Wilson, I think they'll try to look to rebuild. I think their GM had a few interviews for other jobs, and they've extended him for something ridiculous. I think 6 or 7 years.
Really?
Extra, just to keep him in with the Seahawks and try to rebuild that team.
Has he signed?
Not Russell, the GM. The GM. Sorry.
Apologies.
They've kept the GM around to keep the team together because they're going to need to build around Wilson. They need to They need to find some more talent on defense. I think their offense is not too bad, honestly. Probably
their offense is good.
Yeah, probably maybe some offensive line help, but otherwise their defense needs addressing big time.
Looks like Aaron Donald's, by all reports, is right.
Yeah.
He says he's feeling healthy.
Yeah. I think he'd been limited in training, like he'd been doing stuff, but I think he'll play. He's a freak.
Yeah.
So the next game was the Bucks beat the Washington football team 31-23. Brady's had 381 yards, 2 touchdowns. Fournette took the lead role in this. Ronald Jones, I think, either got hurt or sat. No, he started the game, but he didn't. He lasted like 1 or 2 drives and then didn't play for the rest of the game. And Fournette then took the load. Mike Evans Fournette had 93 yards and 1 touchdown. Mike Evans had 6 receptions for 119. So their offense, which is probably their strength. Their defense has been pretty good, but their offense is definitely what's going to keep them.
I tend to agree with
Got
that.
ridiculous talent on offense. The football team were pretty brave in this. Of course, they didn't have Alex Smith in this game. As we said, I call him the Heineken, the beer. Henneke. Henneke. He played pretty well for his
In your
second
defense,
game.
it looks a lot like Heineken.
I think the joke is his teammates call him Heineken. But
Just needs an
Henneke,
N on the end.
Henneke didn't embarrass himself. He played pretty well.
So he came across from the XFL, was it?
Yes, he was number 2 quarterback. So number 1, I think,
right.
was Walker, and he's with the Panthers.
Yeah. Apparently he was finishing off his engineering degree when he got the call up with Washington.
So it was like, hey, we've had another flame out Ohio quarterback. We need someone else to come in here and he come play for us.
What's he trying to do? Engineer our way to the playoffs?
Must have been.
No.
Yeah. We didn't expect Washington to do overly well coming out of the shittest division in the NFL, so it doesn't surprise me. Unfortunately for the Buccaneers, Alex Kappa, their right guard? Left guard?
I was going to say left guard. He's a guard.
He's a guard. Fractured his ankle, so it looks like he's going to be done for the year. I don't think he's playing any more playoffs with a busted wing like that. So
See Brady going up to Alex Smith at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Said, not in verbatim, but pretty much.
Did he shake his head?
He did shake his hand. I think he gave him a hug. And I think he said something like, you're an inspiration.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Be interested to see what they do.
Etc.
It'd be very interesting to see what they do next year with quarterback, because Alex Smith
At Washington.
Washington. I think
He
he'll
won
be
that
back.
job. He won that job.
Yeah.
Whether they go, because I think they're interviewing GMs as well at the moment. Haven't signed anyone. Whether that'll be the case going forward, they stick with him. But yeah, that'd be interesting to see how that goes.
Washington football team should not be ashamed of that year they put up. 7-9. No one expected anything out of them. So
Everyone think they were dumpster fire, but
good result, really.
give props to Ron Rivera as well. Cancer battle throughout the year to come back from that. Coach while getting treatment for cancer really did wonders for the team. Really stabilised them after being, again, a dumpster fire that we talked about for many years. Next game was the Ravens beating the Titans in a bit of a revenge game from last year and earlier in the year.
Revenge game,
Yeah.
and earlier in the year.
So Lamar was very dangerous on the ground, 136 yards with a touchdown. But probably the biggest props to the Ravens D, containing the King, 18 carries to 40 yards. That's pretty impressive.
I think that's the least rushing yards he had all season. So obviously they prepared for that and said, look, if we can bite down on the run, let them beat us through the air, and Tannehill and his receiving core weren't able to do it.
Yeah. I think AJ Brown had a pretty good day, in this
He
one.
had a touchdown.
Over 100 yards, forcing, but
he had 83 yards
83
off 6 receptions.
yeah.
Pretty close.
We'll round up.
Round up.
But that's probably the game plan. You want to take it out of Henry's hands, put it in Tannehill's and say, can you beat us?
Yep.
And in this case, they didn't. So the Ravens, of course, as we were talking last
Lucky
week,
for us,
Yeah.
because we picked them as our smoky in the AFC outside of
the
the
dark horse to keep going.
Kansas City Chiefs. I actually think if you review the tape, the picks are pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. What are you talking about, Perry? We're so good at this.
Oh, mate, never get it wrong. Never get it wrong.
Put your houses
Never.
on. But I think those numbers from Lamar kind of say where he's at and where that team's at. Like, if he's going to pump out those numbers week to week, they're going to win more often than not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And and we touched on this last week, his numbers don't reflect the season that they had last year, which was an obscene season. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter so much about the numbers that you put up through that regular season. It comes down to the 3 or 4 finals games that you play.
Yeah, you've 0-0 when you come to playoffs. Everyone starts again.
Yeah, so he showed up, and I think the Ravens are the second best team in the AFC.
Yep, I definitely second that. So then moving on to the next game was Saints versus beat the Bears. Kind of expected, but with Saints being heavy favourites in the NFC.
Went to script, the script that we picked.
21-9.
Bears struggled on offense. I think they ran for 48 yards on the ground. Trubisky had about 198.
Yeah.
Saints just, to be honest, this is probably kept a little bit closer than I had expected.
I think the
Saints would have been not resting, but
taking it easy. I would have thought,
I'd say give props to the Bears defense. They did their job in this. If you can keep the Saints to 21 points, more often than not, your team is definitely in a chance to win.
Yep.
But in this case, of course, the Saints good enough to hold the opposition's offense only to 9 points, so they get the win in this.
Seems to be
a bit of a low scoring game.
Seems to be Chicago Bears defense isn't the side of the ball that lets them down.
So interesting for the Bears, both Nagy and Pace have been confirmed as head coach and GM for next year. Talk that both might be moved on because they have made the playoffs, but they haven't had an overly good record of late in the last few years. So, but they'll be around for another year for unfortunate Chicago fans.
They got to get them some offensive weapons.
Yes.
On the defense,
need themselves a quarterback.
On defense, Chuck Pagano, defensive coordinator, retired today.
Yes.
After 36 years.
In his 70s?
He'd be close.
73?
He was at Colts.
Long-term Colts.
Only 60.
60? Had his own cancer battle, of course.
He did while he was at the Colts.
Yeah. Wish him all the best, of course, definitely.
Indeed.
Maybe it could have been a bit of like, well, I'm sick of being a defense coach. I'm not really getting any head coach calls at the moment. I've made shitloads of money, so
60,
I'm 60. I'm going to spend some time with the grandkids and retire.
That's
good on him.
Yeah. All the best next year and moving forward.
So the next game was probably one of the better games in the playoffs. The Browns beat the
very
Steelers.
fun to watch.
The game of the round.
Browns get out to a massive lead early, and Steelers
28-0 after the first quarter.
Steelers chase them down and almost get there. Game finishes, of course, up 48-37. First win for the Browns at Heinz Field in about 20 years. They don't win very much in Pittsburgh.
That's regular season. That's not playoffs. First win in 20 years in Pittsburgh.
So Baker had a pretty good game, 263 yards, 3 touchdowns. They had 127 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground between their 2 main backs. Big Ben started off pretty poorly with 4 picks, but then brought it back with 4 touchdowns. They, of course, got an awesome receiving core over there, so they were never really going to be out of this. Even with a 28-point lead on them, they were going to fight back, and Big Ben probably had one of his better games in this. He's been a bit slow over the last couple of months.
He threw 4 picks.
But he did throw 4 picks.
Had a bit of a Jameis Winston game.
Yes.
Plenty TDs, plenty picks. Absolute offensive shootout. Like you're watching this at some stage, just going, is any defense going to rock up? I think it was just the Cleveland Browns able to take that early lead, 28-0. A lot of that stemmed from the first snap of the game, just going straight over Big Ben's head into the end zone. The Steelers had a chance to pounce on it. They couldn't get it. The Browns get it. They go up 7-0 off the first play.
Know what that feels like? At least it wasn't in a Super Bowl.
Yes. That is a reference to Cam Newton.
No, Peyton in the 2013 Super Bowl first snap.
That's right. We had it the wrong way around. It was Cam Newton.
Straight over his head.
No. There was Peyton against the Seahawks where they smoked 48-13. First snap went straight over Peyton's head. So I was like, as soon as you saw that, I was like, oh, we're getting fucked today.
Yeah, gets them off the wrong tone, I guess.
Yeah, it's not a way you want to start the game with a snap that goes over your quarterback's head.
No,
it's a poor way to start.
Does not set the precedent.
So the question then, of course, go back to this Brown Steelers game. Big Ben, is he done? He's not the oldest of the five old quarterbacks. He's equal with Rodgers, I think. They're both 38.
Yeah, about that. He might be a touch older.
Yeah, a couple of months maybe.
The thing that makes me question, will he be around next year? The body language. He was in absolute tears. He was in shattered.
Yeah.
Like he was shattered after.
He did everything this offseason to get back from his elbow injury.
If it wasn't for Alex Smith, he was a comeback player of the year.
Yeah, agreed.
So was that just a sign of passion and him being really about this football team, or was it something more?
Like, he's probably dedicated the 12 months, since his elbow injury to rehab and getting back to the position where he could then be a professional quarterback. Lead you 10 to 12 and 4 on the season, like
11-0 at one stage.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, as a team sport, like he probably will be very down on himself for throwing 4 picks. It doesn't help your team to do that. 4 touchdowns makes it a bit better. You kind of brought your team back into this. Don't know. They faded. They definitely faded towards the end of the year. You could see it. They got a few injuries. Whether Big Ben starting to struggle towards the end of the year, just because of the amount of passes, amount of reps in that. Because you got to remember, if he's throwing 40 passes in a game, he's probably throwing about 100 to 200 during training every week. You're in the thousands of passing attempts through the year. That might just wear your arm out to the point where it's just dead. Yeah.
Speaking of dead, his cap hit for 2021 is 41 million.
A big cap hit too.
So he's still contracted.
Yeah, still under contract.
Yeah.
They'll see him out. They'll see him out, I reckon.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to force him out or anything.
No.
They'll give him the options like, hey, if you want to come back. If you want to retire, we're good with that too, because that's a lot of money we'll get back on the cap.
Do you bring him back and then sort of manage next season for a draft pick?
They're not going with Mason Rudolph, that's for sure.
No, I don't.
No.
Mason Rudolph, I don't think it's the future. They're going to pick late though. Maybe Mack Jones. Maybe that makes sense for them. Late in the first round, because they'll pick in the late 20s. So maybe that makes sense for them.
Big Mac, maybe.
Yeah, the Big Mac. We'll have to see what happens in the coming days, because none of these guys, of course, officially retired. That and like Rivers as well.
Yeah, all speculation.
Yeah.
Same with Breeze. Like he's going to keep playing. He's got another game to play. Sorry, whether he keeps playing after that or not, or is this his farewell?
Is he off contract?
I don't think he is, but he's old as balls. Is probably the better way to say it.
He's like 41, 42.
Yeah.
Because
again after his injury this year as well.
Yeah, we'll get to the preview of the next games, but Brady's 43, he's 42. That's 85 years on the field next week. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But
that's like 4 young men.
Yeah. So let's talk about the other stories first. So Doug Peterson did get fired. He's the second ever Super Bowl winning coach to be fired within 3 years of a Super Bowl.
Thank you, ESPN, for that stat.
Yes.
No.
I think the coach, not the head coach, the owner wasn't overly happy with what he was planning. I think he wanted to promote coaches within his coaching staff instead of bringing in new guys, and I don't think the owner was overly happy with that. I think the owner wants to work with Wentz, so I think Wentz may be staying there. It depends on the head coach, I guess. And it might be a requirement of being the head coach. You got to work with Wentz. He's 40, just under 40 mil next year cap hit. You're gonna have to work with him. So
that's possibly true. True.
Yeah. So again, story to follow. I don't think there's been any official head coaching signings in the last couple of days.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
But you'd expect a few to come through.
I'd say
next few weeks.
I'd definitely say very soon. Of course, some of them might be waiting to interview guys that are in playoff teams. The Jags still talking about Urban Meyer there. I think Urban Meyer was talking with Falcons very briefly, but I think he's all on the Jaguars train, but they haven't said anything. Talk of that, there's been hype up in the media about he'd love to work with Trevor Lawrence, so instead of Justin Fields, because that's connection.
Either or.
So it'd be interesting to see how that happens there. Other coaching news, Dan Quinn, so former Falcons coach, joining the Cowboys to be their defensive coordinator, which is a pretty decent signing, I'd say, for them. He was excellent as a defensive coordinator at the Seahawks. So hopefully he can regain some of his mojo there, because the Falcons, for a team that had a defensive head coach, weren't very defensive.
No, they really stunk on defense.
And the final other signing before we start talking about playoffs for this week, the Broncos have a GM. So George Patton joins them from the Vikings. He's been their VP GM, so assistant GM for the last 14 years, I believe.
That long?
Yeah, been there quite a while. Been involved in that team. You'd say he's been involved in some of the bigger decisions and the high-profile players they brought into there. Guys like Dalvin Cook, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully he can bring some of that talent to Denver and work with Fangio to build a competitive team. He said Denver was a bit of a sleeping giant, so let's hope he was right. Go Broncos.
No bias there whatsoever.
Yeah.
Should we assess the upcoming NFL playoff games?
Yeah, let's go through 4 games, yes?
4 games. So
Where do you want to start?
kicking it off on Saturday afternoon, 4:30 in the Central Time, I believe, over in the States. Sunday morning our time, the Green Bay Packers take on the Los Angeles Rams. Going to be in the frozen tundra of Wisconsin. LA coming off a fresh win against the Seattle Seahawks, an upset. Green Bay obviously coming off the first seed week off.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on this game, Sean?
I think you as well probably liking what the Rams are doing at the moment. A bit of a dark horse. I think Cam Akers has really come on for them. They've got a running game. Green Bay has struggled a bit through the year, like last year definitely, and this year a little bit as well with that run defense. So it's whether they get him going. If Aaron Donald's healthy, got to get after Rodgers, got to pressure him, make him make some poor decisions. Goff, I think he's got to play. Like,
Is he going to start, do you reckon?
Yeah.
I think he has to. He'd be another week removed from his thumb surgery. He played excellent last week, so I think
he was good. Yeah,
I think they'd be like, "You're good to go, mate. Just go out there and do the best you can." So I think they've hit a bit of form. They've got one of the better defenses left in the playoffs. But Rodgers, Adams, you know, then you throw on Aaron Jones and is it Williams? Not Williams, the other one.
Jamal Williams.
Dylan.
AJ Dillon.
That like their running groups started to come on and strong as well. I guess the question will be Ramsey Adams, because that's going to be the competition. That even could be the ball game, because some of the other receivers on Packers don't scare you as much as Adams does. But Ramsey on Adams, can he slow him down? So guys like Donald and Brockers, can they get pressure on Rodgers and then force him to throw around? I'm expecting Tonya maybe to have a big game as the odd number out. So hopefully he can maybe sneak around and get into some of those areas if they're going to, Ramsey on Adams and spread the other guys on the receivers. Maybe he sneaks around a little bit.
Tonyan's a handful on his own. He's got double digits touchdown receptions this year. Second amongst tight ends, I believe.
So to summarise everything I've just said, it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a hard-fought, competitive game. Maybe low scoring. It's probably going to be cold.
It will be cold.
Will be cold. Yeah.
So
does that put it in Green Bay's favour?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, Rams coming from LA, so
yeah.
What about the Titans? They went there a few weeks ago. It was an absolute frozen tundra. You would have thought,
snowing like crazy.
It might have favoured the
Henry.
King. Might have favoured the King Henry, and the Packers put on an absolute clinic. And they did the same thing in Chicago 2 weeks ago. I think the Packers win this.
Yeah,
and
Packers should be favourites.
I think they are, and I think they win this. I think they win this comfortably.
Yeah. Give them a 2 touchdown start, you think? So
two touchdowns is a lot. I'll give them 10.5, which is what our friends at Sportsbet give. They might. Nah.
Do you think they'll score?
6.5.
They'll score 30 odd points and Rams score 20. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
I think it's fair. I may say slightly closer, maybe like 24-21.
Okay. Time will tell. I think the Packers will win.
I think this will be a great game either way. It'll either be a bit of a defensive battle, or maybe it's slightly low scoring more than you'd think, maybe weather-wise. But, Rogers and Adams have been killing it in the snow so far. So, yeah.
Adams looks a step quicker in the snow than everyone else does.
Yep.
He's a cheat code.
And that Ramsey battle,
That's unreal.
That's going to be unreal.
All right. Let's wrap that one up.
Next one.
This is a really interesting matchup. In the AFC.
Packers?
Yeah, Packers. Packers?
Yes, Packers. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go Packers. I was like,
He's not convinced.
I was thinking about it. I'll go Packers.
This one is a real fence sitter. Buffalo Bills 13-3 taking on the Baltimore Ravens 11-5. It's in Buffalo.
Fire, absolutely.
They get second game in Orchid Park here. God knows the last time they had 2 playoff games in a row. It's probably when they went on that 4.
Back to Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey in Buffalo.
It's back again.
Bruce Almighty.
Probably back to Kelly days, I'd say. That's
Jennifer Aniston was in that movie.
You said that last week.
Just keeping everyone up to date.
I think it was.
It's Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, no, you said Steve Carell last time.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I said Jim Carrey and I said Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, she's in it.
She is in it. Yeah.
She's
All right.
sexy as well.
Yes. So back to the Buffalo Ravens game.
This is very hard to pick.
I think this may depend on the weather.
Yep.
If it's snowing, I think that hinders Lamar because that probably gives it more to Allen, who's been plays in Wyoming, like he's played in the Frozen Bowls. He's played in Buffalo.
Pass heavy offense.
Versus Lamar, who's probably going to want to run it.
Why wouldn't that be better in the snow?
Well, it depends how thick the snow is, I guess.
Allegedly,
If it's
Lamar
like-
Jackson came out this week saying he's never played in the snow before.
There you go. If it's
Went
like
to Louisville, so they wouldn't have that much snow, if any, in Kentucky.
well, if it's a game like
Lamar Jackson, Wikipedia, where did he grow up?
if it's a game like where they had Shady McCoy running in 2 feet of snow.
And juking the fuck out of everyone.
Yes. I'm not sure that helps Lamar enough with his style of play. I think that helps Buffalo. More.
I think this is intriguing.
Man, this game I think will be close.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
Out of all these games, if I had to put money on anything, I'd be holding it here because I got no idea.
yeah, because I think Ravens D's probably better than most people give him credit for.
Or they kept Henry to 40 yards off 18 carries last week.
I think they're peaking at the right time. Bills' defense is maybe not as good as the Ravens D, but I'd say Bills' offense with the amount of weapons like Diggs, Beasley, Brown, and with Allen, of course, throwing the ball, they're going to be dominant.
Those numbers that we spoke about earlier in the show in the red zone, where
Crazy.
Allen's 46-0 touchdowns, picks, and he's run 23 touchdowns.
Yeah. So I think that's crazy. I worry about their run game, of course.
Yep.
Can they control
so
clock? Can they, the possession game as well? Because you can't keep giving the ball back to Lamar. Because we saw what happened when the Browns did that again against the Ravens earlier in the year. Give them more opportunities, they're going to score points. So, but if I go back to the Ravens offense, not 100% sold in the wide receivers. Hollywood's been playing much better.
Yeah,
Dez is getting involved. So I think they're getting hot at the right time. They've got some guys in the backfield that can help them out. Lamar's getting hot. Man, it's going to be close. Flip a coin.
Pick one.
I'm a huge Lamar fan, so I'm going to back the Ravens. I think Denver should have drafted Lamar when he came out. So that, yeah.
I am also going to go Baltimore, but I think this is the hardest one to split.
Oh, definitely. And we're going against Allen, who's
Probably the 4th best player in the NFL this year.
second quarterback. Like you'd pick third.
Third. I'll go Rodgers, Mahomes, Josh Allen.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll pick the 2 old blokes before I'd go Baker.
Yep.
Buffalo. I'll switch it up
No.
at home in the cold. Josh Allen.
Yeah.
It's a hard combo.
Well, I can't disagree with you, James. Though it's it's excellent.
The run game, and I think that's going to play effect towards the end of the game. Time management might hurt them a little bit, but
time to tell. If it's sunny, hot.
It's not going to be hot.
Well, if it's mild.
Mild's a better term.
So as in it's a clear day to run fast. I worry the Ravens. Well, I think the Ravens could do a bit better. But man, can't split it. I could go either way.
Sunday morning, we should maybe watch it together.
I'm not here, so you guys can watch it.
Yeah.
Come down to my place.
Hashtag Coast.
Monday morning, our time, Sunday afternoon in the States, Kansas City versus Cleveland Browns. Is it clear cut? Are the Chiefs a way better team? Or does last week have you questioning?
If the Chiefs play the Chiefs football, they'll smoke them.
Should win.
Should win. My concern is they've had the week off. Technically have 2 weeks off and probably haven't played football in about 3 weeks.
Yep.
In total of elapsed time.
Because Mahomes didn't play and
Yep.
a lot of their starters didn't play.
So they haven't played since week 16.
In week 17,
Yeah, so they haven't played since their last week 16 game. So there's, 3 weeks of elapsed time. They could come in the rusty. Because I think this is what happened to Lamar and Baltimore last year.
Too much time off.
And you could see it took them almost to the last quarter before they started to get going again. I think Patty Mahomes is probably in a better spot than Lamar was last year as a comparison. You're talking about MVP last year. Actually, no, Lamar got the MVP last year. MVP,
the year before.
Yeah, he's won an MVP, won the Super Bowl last year. Definitely got extreme amount of talent, talented roster, awesome offense. Defense is pretty good. Don't see the Browns winning this.
I don't know that.
I can imagine an upset where the Browns control the clock, pound the absolute shit out of the ball, give it to Chubb, give it to Hunt. Hunt in a bit of a revenge game as well. 40 carries between the two of them, 200 plus yards, control the clock, play good defense, keep it out of Mahomes' hands. Yeah, maybe they sneak a 21-17 game.
I can imagine it, Sean. I can imagine it.
Yeah.
I can also imagine me waking up in the morning and having $500 million in my bank account and Heidi Klum.
Yeah, in your bed and Sarah going, what the fuck?
No. Heidi Klum's making pancakes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I was going with that one.
All right.
I can imagine it. I can imagine that happening.
But I think Kansas put 40 on them and Browns only scored 20.
Yeah, I don't mind
maybe 30.
I think it might be a bit of a shootout. I think the Browns are better than teams are giving them credit for.
Yeah.
A la last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're coming up against the best team in football over probably the last 3 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So good luck to them. I'd love to see Cleveland get it done here, but I think the Chiefs are way too good and they get it done. And I don't think it's embarrassing for Cleveland.
No. I think the first quarter will be very telling. If Chiefs come out, score some early points, they're here to put in work.
But what about last
year? The Browns
year?
come out.
What about last year when the Chiefs were down in all 3 of their games to win the Super Bowl? They were down 14, 20 and some.
28. Sorry, yeah. They definitely can come back. They can score a lot of points. I guess what I'm saying is that first quarter, see how flat they are. And hopefully they don't give up a huge lead, but it might make it interesting. So they can definitely chase. You're going to have to score a lot of points.
I'll go
Cleveland's got to score points.
I'll go Chiefs win this, but it's closer than you'd imagine.
Yeah. Field goals aren't going to win this for the Browns. Got to score touchdowns.
Yep. Maybe the most intriguing game in the NFC. Let's put it that way. New Orleans.
What about the last one we just
Tampa Bay.
Dickhead. What about Ravens versus Bills?
No, I said in the NFC.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were still talking about Browns and Chiefs game. I was just like, it's not that intriguing compared to the last one.
Well, they're all intriguing.
Yeah.
They are.
Right,
that's why we're in the playoffs.
I'll give you a solid pass on that one. Let's go old man football. Tampa versus New Orleans.
There's 2 old men. There's 2 old men.
Yeah. Like I said before, 85 years combined age because Breeze's birthday is Saturday for us, so Friday.
Yep.
How old is he then? 108?
42, but close enough.
So I did.
108 in football years.
Yep.
Have you seen the meme that Tom Brady sent of them out of them as old men playing on the History Channel?
Yes, I did.
So funny. So
A few
funny.
greys. A few greys.
Oh, that's so good. So I did do the maths on this. So Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady tallies up to 122 years
Years of age.
between the three of them.
Yep.
Between the five others, so we've got Jared Goff at 26,
Yep.
Baker
you're going
Mayfield
three-
25,
3 versus 5.
3 versus 5. Baker Smith is at 25 years old. Lamar Jackson 25, Patty Mahomes 25, and Josh Allen 24 is 125.
They're older.
Just older by
Just
3 years.
older.
5 versus 3.
5 versus 3.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
pretty close.
Yeah. Back to football.
That's an interesting insight. What was the difference? 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
So let's recap. Breeze, Brady, and Rodgers
Rodgers.
are 3 years younger than Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, Goff,
Mayfield.
Mayfield. 3 versus 5.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
It is great. That's crazy.
5 guys versus 3 guys at the same age.
So,
Yeah.
is this the retirement bowl? Do you think whoever
Brady's got another year
Brady's
contract.
got another year.
He's got another year contract.
is he coming back there?
I think it will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's a competitor. I think he
Yeah.
does that.
I mean,
Well, if he doesn't
this
win-
deep into the season,
Yeah. Well, if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, probably makes sense. Maybe give it another year with the
He's-
talent they've got.
well,
Yeah.
if he doesn't, I think he gives up 25 million. So
Well, it's not. His missus makes more money than he does, so I don't think it's about
change.
the. I don't think it's about the money.
25 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about the money, but I think you're looking at the talent on their roster, and adding a few extra guys next year. You'd think, oh, I'd go around another year. If he wins a Super Bowl this year, you might go, yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
How does that feel, Bill? Like I did it without you.
Pay me now.
Yeah.
You pay me
Yeah.
now. Maybe.
Saints, on the other hand, I think this could be Breeze's last year. I don't think he goes around again.
He was busted up. Busted up.
yeah.
Looked a bit old at points. Tom did as well, but yes.
Just those shots when he was breaking ribs like left, right, and centre. Looked very old.
So let's talk about this game. What are we feeling?
I think the Bucks are a good price. They're $2.40.
You look at that
Yeah.
You look at the offense. They're 3-4 receivers. I think Jones may be out in this, or he's.
They can give the rock to Fournette. He's fine.
You got Fournette there. They've got. I think they had Vaughn come in, who was a rookie from the last year.
Keyshawn Vaughn.
But he fumbled, I think, in their last game, so I'm not sure if he's going to be on the outer or not. But then you've got Gronk at tight end. Brights came into the game actually in the last one, so they used him a lot. So he got involved. So they definitely got a great offense. Losing Kappa on their offensive line probably doesn't help, but they've been pretty solid in protecting Brady.
Yeah.
I think that could be the ball game. If Saints defensive line can really get up and cause Brady issues, which is I think has always been that's a game plan. Cause him issues, make him under duress so he can't hit
Blitz.
Yeah, can't hit those other, the big name talented guys receiving the ball.
Saints defense has been
They can do
good.
it.
They've
Yeah.
been good
I'm
this year.
worried about Saints defense.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the Saints offense can definitely put enough points up and they can compete.
I'm also very worried about Tampa's defense
yeah, Tampa's defense
for two
against
very different reasons.
Come on, Mike Thomas. I think is Mike Thomas. No, he's been on injury reserve and maybe back for this game.
I think he's back. And
Yeah.
Kamara's definitely available.
Kamara definitely available. Murray, I think, has been banged up a little bit, but I think he should play. Because it wasn't Smith or Sanders. One of the other blokes had a really good game last week in the playoffs. They had come in, just a bit of a no-no. That's why I can't remember it. But
Have a look at that.
I think Thomas is meant to be back.
We're talking about the best wide receiver in football in 2019.
Mm-hmm. Who do you pick? I know he's going Buccaneers. What are you picking?
This is harder than the Bills Baltimore game.
What would you prefer? Rodgers first Brady or Rodgers first Breeze? Considering if Rodgers was
So
the
before you
other way.
make decision,
I don't want to get ahead of myself.
before you make your decision, Mike Thomas has been activated.
There you go. That probably helps. Yeah, I'm gonna go Saints. I think their defense is better. Their offense is good enough.
They've
They've beaten the Bucks twice this year already.
Yeah, consider that. They have
And beat them well, I think, in both those games.
Yep.
Like, not even close.
I'm going Buccaneers.
Oh, sneaky
I'm
Peppy.
going Buccaneers.
I'll back the Saints over here.
Third time's the charm.
We'll back these two will back the Buccaneers down this end. I'm going to go Saints. So so we're picking what? Saints versus Pack and Baltimore versus Kansas. There are going to be some fire games next week.
Either way.
Yeah. I think of the eight teams, the only team that maybe doesn't. Oh, well, you like the Browns. Browns probably the only team that doesn't interest me in that lot.
Super Bowls, Chiefs versus Packers.
Yeah.
I'll skip next week.
Yeah, if
Tampa can get over Saints, I reckon Tampa Bay has.
No, they're not beating the Packers.
No.
I think Packers will.
Take that head off your head.
I think the Packers will walk in if they come against the Buccaneers. They'll be happy with that.
Anyway, it's going to be enthralling.
Oh, definitely.
Either way it goes, there's obviously always people have insights and they never prove to be right.
Yeah.
So should be entertaining.
Yeah.
I'll see you after next week. At the moment, I'm feeling maybe a Baltimore Green Bay final.
Ooh.
Baltimore.
I'm backing Baltimore all the way in yet at this point.
And one thing that we can all agree with is that the Renegades stink.
I think so. Let's finish up our NFL chat for this week, and I'll probably finish up the podcast as well for On the Esky. Thank you everyone for listening. The score in the Renegades game, I think Lynn just got dropped. No ball on 36, so he got caught, but he keeps going. I think they got 72 off 10, which was possibly one more than the Renegades got, so they could get the bonus point. I think they're in a much better position at the moment. The Renegades, I think, were 4 down at this point. Heat, of course, got Chris Lynn. They're going to get 62 from 55. Very, very doable. Renegades think.
Sean, enjoy your week and down the coast with the bub and mum. And we will see you guys next week. On the Esky.
On the Esky. Thank you all. Thank you for listening. Thanks, boys.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you all then. Bye.
Bye.